law.
Right. Go ahead.
And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here.
Right.
Lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
Right. Now here's the problem that I have with Lot. Read on.
And while he lingered.
He did what?
And while he lingered.
Yeah, man. He was just like dum 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 dum, like not taking it serious. Not taking it serious. And think about it. What was this for Lot? Was not this his salvation? Why would you linger?
Yeah.
Why would you linger? The scriptures say, tarry not. What does it say? Tarry not to turn to the Lord. Ain't that what it says? Find that one for me. It says, tarry not day to day. That day I'd have been like, bro, when do we leave? The next morning? Oh, hell no. We leaving now. Packing area, we out. Tarry not.
It's crazy because, like,
Ecclesiastes 5:7.
Okay.
the angels came there, and he knew they were angels. And then, as the events were occurring, the men come into his house, trying to force themselves on these men. Even Lot wanted to offer up his daughters to them. There should have, you would have thought that there would have been more of a sense of urgency.
Right.
Even after all of that prior had occurred.
But think about this. Y'all all have y'all's personal Sodom and Gomorrah. Y'all are all, if you're sitting in these seats, at one time you were Lot. You were Lot because you were compassed about by a bunch of evils. And just like Lot, you tarried to run from that evil. Somebody had to grab you. Come on, let's go. Let's do it, man. Sense of urgency. It's no different. He was going through a physical and seeing the physical examples where ours is spiritual and a lot of us was in, listen, abusive relationships, drugs, physical abuse, verbal abuse, this abuse, that abuse. And instead of saying, man, the word is trying to save me, let me hurry up and skedaddle from that, you were like, I don't know. Let me pray on it. Let me ask Yah. There was no need to pray on it. He already gave you the signs. He already gave you the word.
Testimony. Before I met my wife, my cousin and I were driving up to Minnesota. We were driving up to Minnesota. And coming from South Texas, off the border of Mexico, drogas and everything like that, we were riding up there deep, loud, foolish. And when we got into Minnesota, we just all geeked out. We had passed the first blizzard, so there was black ice, so on and so forth, coming from the truck of Texas, the tires all whacked, no 4-wheel drive. We was going on the highway, getting to our destination, and right when we got in there, it was me, my cousin, and my dog. We had all backed up, and the back tires, 2-wheel drive, caught the black ice, and then we spun out. Right when we got in there, spun out, and we went off the road. And then we went off the road, nobody came up to help us, and then we were shaking in it. Even the dog was scared. My cousin was like, yo, get back up there. So I pushed the gas, and we got back on the road, and then we stopped, and then I got off the truck, and I was like, I started screaming out loud. And then my cousin was like, man, geek up again, skirt, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, cuzzo, this is enough. He's like, what you mean? I was like, bro, we ain't dead. Like, snap out of it. I'm trying to snap out of it. And he's like, man, geek, whatever. Man, that's scary. That was scary.
But that's the thing, like like I said, we've all been through our instances where the Most High is showing you why you shouldn't be in a situation. The Spirit makes intercession. And we're like, I don't get it. I don't see it. Let me dance around the evils a little bit more. Let me take my time to separate from the world. Ain't no time, man. And this was the only problem I had with Lot, where he lingered. Like, what the hell are you lingering for? These niggas is off. You see it. You smell it. You hear it. They was trying to on, man, rape men in your house. Why would you even linger? But some of y'all have those, some of y'all's story is that intense. You can name the first video, Sodomatic Practices.
Sodomatic practices.
Yes. The evils of sodomatic practices. Oh yeah.
Priest, I got chapter 5, verse 7, Ecclesiasticus.
Read that.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 5, verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Most High.
Make no what?
Tarrying to turn to the Most High.
Yeah. Make no tarrying. Don't linger. You know what you're going through. You know what you're dealing with. What you waiting on? You waiting on the angel to come and grab you by the hand? Come on, my son. Ain't no angel coming to grab you by the hand. The only thing you're going to hear is, gotta read Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Gotta read. That's all you're going to hear. That's what you're going to hear. That's what you're going to hear. You're not going. Ain't no angel going to reach down and pull you out of your spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, man. All you're going to hear is, hey, I show up to class. Hey, brother, hit brothers up. Hey, Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Hey, brother, study. Hey, sis, talk to your husband. Study. Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Get to class. Keep coming around. That's what you're going to hear. That's what you're going to hear, man. But you can linger all you want. Because what's going to happen is this. The longer you linger, the longer you hold back from giving yourself to the Most High, the more destruction you go through. You got to see. You know what you have to roll on? The same faith that a lot of y'all believe that the Most High brought y'all here. You got to roll on that. You got to keep rolling on that. A lot of y'all is like, yeah, the Most High brought me to this point. Then it's like, you stop. Why? Why stop if you believe wholeheartedly that the Most High, he took you through this whirlwind of a life, right? And then he showed you a better path. And then you're like, the Most High brought me here, Barakatah Yahweh. And then you just pause. Let me just tarry a little bit. Let me reflect back on the old life. Why? What's the point? You believe in the Most High, right? You got faith, right? Keep pushing forward. Push past that old life. And just keep moving forward. Just keep taking the steps. Just keep walking in faith. For we walk by faith, not by sight, right? Right, but what are you waiting for? A sign? A wicked and adulterous generation requires a sign. So what you waiting on? Keep moving. Keep doing the first thing you did was just walk in faith. Walk in faith, and what's happening is, or what should be happening, is your understanding should be enlightened. Right? The Most High said, what's the one in Proverbs real quick? Oh yeah, bro. Would you up? Oh, you got some things? Yeah, it's a good story, but again, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I remember before I moved out here from Colorado. So I came out for Passover. I'll give y'all my personal story. Because I know brothers be like, man, you just blowing smoke. You talk a good one. Right? You talk a good one. You ain't that. So I came out for Passover. Me and Noah. Noah was like 1 year old. Came out for Passover. And I got to the airport on the way to leave back to Colorado. I hit Kazan. I said, listen, I'll be back in June. This was April. I said, I'll be back in June. He was like, really? I said, yeah, I'll be back in June. He didn't believe me. He didn't believe me, not because he thought I was lying. It's just, we always get that. Yeah, I'll be back. Right? Or I want to do this and it don't happen. So he said, okay, we'll see you when you get back. But he said, you got to remember, you're going back to Sodom and Gomorrah. And I really didn't understand what he meant by that. Until I got back to Colorado, and every evil you thought could be presented to a man was presented. Up until death, people around me were dying. And I was like, whoa. But the whole point was, I could have been like, oh yeah, I'll be back in June. And then June comes by. I actually got here in July. I actually got here in July because of the way it worked out. Not because I wanted to, push it back, but that's just how it worked out. But I could have been like, yeah, June. Oh, no, bro, I'll be there in July. July passes. Oh, I'll be there in August, September, October, November, until what? The spirit is torn out of me to even want to make the move. I had to move on the first thought. Like, no, okay, June? I didn't know when in June. It happened, I left in June and got here like July 4th. Left like July 1st or whatever, got here July 4th. I remember. But if I didn't move on the first thought and let all the things around me, that modern day Egypt and Sodom that was around me, man, I would have been consumed in that. If I would have just sat back and tarried day to day, like, oh yeah, and let doubt creep, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't be sitting here. So I know what it is to be in those situations and have to really make a conscious decision on your salvation. A conscious decision to say, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice all this crap, right? I'm going to count it all as dung, like Paul said, to get the excellency of Yahushua. I know what that's about. So it ain't me just up here preaching to the preaching, right? And just blowing smoke up your tailpipe. No, I lived it. I lived it, and I didn't understand what he was saying at the time until a month in. It was April, May, June. I was like, whoa. And it just, the days just got so long. And the evils and people just, everything was presented to me under the sun that Satan wanted you to have to not make the right move. So that's what y'all got to see, man. Just like Yahushua and Satan tempted him. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. If you bow to me. Don't tarry. Read it again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 7.
Right.
Make no tarrying to turn to the Most High.
Go ahead.
And put not off from day to day.
Yeah, man. Don't put off from day to day, because Satan, the wicked one, is looking to snatch the little bit of faith that you're rolling with. He's looking to snatch the little bit of understanding that you think you have. He's waiting. He's waiting for situations to pop up. He's waiting for certain family members to move in, to move around you, so they can snatch from you the little bit of goodness that you fought so hard to get. What the hell are you waiting on? The scriptures say, when you see a man of understanding, get thee betimes him. When you see, so if you see a man of understanding, get thee betimes him. If you see people with understanding, a group of individuals with understanding, wouldn't you, man, I got to be with them. I got to be around that more. But some people's like, oh yeah, it's fine. I'll get with y'all when it's convenient for me. I'm over here with them. But then you wonder why it's so hard for you to get out and crawl out of the mire. Like, man, why is it so hard for me to get it? Why is it taking so long for me to grow? Right? And, next thing you in the tarot cards. When is it going to be my time? When will I come up? When is it going to be my day? Well, the day is now. Tarry not from day to day. Read it one more time, man.
Make no tarrying to turn from the Most. Salakia. Make no tarrying to turn to the Most High.
Yeah, don't wait for your salvation. Take it. It's here for the taking, man. Your salvation is here for you to grab onto. Go ahead.
And put not off from day to day.
Yeah, oh, I'll get to that tomorrow. Yeah, I'll work on my salvation next week. Come on now. Satan he's waiting to hear that. Oh, he's ready. Oh, you gonna wait till next week? Well, watch what I do in the meantime, in between time.
Ooh.
Here go this family member. Here go this opportunity. Here go this setback. Here go this downfall. Here goes this blessing that you thought was a blessing. Satan blesses too.
That's right.
Here goes this. Here goes that. And Satan just shoots all these darts. And you just getting hit with darts and you think it's all good. And then when you step into the doors of the Most High, you faint at the door. You didn't even make it through. You faint in the parking lot because you got too many wiles of the devils in you, man. You got too many things that stole your strength. So now when it's time to give that strength to the Most High, that little grain of mustard seed of faith, right? That little bit of faith that you just need to propel yourself. Satan done snatched it. Satan done took it, man. We got to be careful. Finish that up, and then you had a question.
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Most High come forth.
Wait, what happens?
Suddenly shall the wrath of the Most High come forth.
Man, and that wrath is in the form of Satan. Okay, well, you took too long. Satan, get him. Satan, go ahead and get him. Just like here in this story. If Lot would have kicked it a little, listen, imagine if them angels weren't there to say Lot. Because as we read, they had to snatch him up by the hand and pull him. Imagine if they didn't do that.
Like it says in Jude, so you pull out of the fire.
Yeah. Some will be pulled out. But imagine if there's no one there to pull you and push you towards the right way. You're going to get caught up in that brimstone, man. You're going to get caught up in what? Read it one more time. Verse 8.
Verse 8.
Where you at again?
Verse 7.
Read verse 7.
Make no tarrying to turn to the Most High,
Right.
and put not off from day to day.
Right?
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Most High come forth.
Right?
And in thy security thou shalt be destroyed.
And I what?
In thy security.
Is I what?
In thy security.
See, a lot of us think that we're secure in where you're at right now. A gated community ain't gonna stop the Most High's wrath, man.
That's right.
You living 30 miles away from the school ain't gonna stop the Most High's wrath or stop him from showing you where you should be. Come on, man. Y'all gotta see this. Thinking that it's all good and I'm gonna just take it day by day and the Most High got me. No, that ain't gonna preserve you. That doesn't preserve you. He said, make no tarrying to turn to him. What verse you at?
Verse 7, last week.
What chapter?
Ecclesiastes.
Right, there it is.
Verse 7.
He said, and in thy security. What security? Well, the security in your own mind. Your own little security blankets. Well, I'm going to just drink the problem away. Well, I'm going to just be silent and it's going to go away. Well, I'm going to just take drugs for the problem to go away. Or I'm going to just put it out my mind. That ain't security. Go ahead, read.
And in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance.
Yeah, man, because why? Just like Jonah. Just like Jonah. Most High said, go here. He was like, well, I don't want to do that. I'm going to run to the other side of the world. And what happened? Well, the Most High took him in his own craftiness, man. I'm going to hop on a boat and go over here. Well, that boat's going to crash, and you're going to get swallowed up by a whale. You're going to be in a whale's belly for 3 days. Contemplating your life. Ain't that what he did? And then he had to do what the Most High wanted anyway. He still had to do what the Most High wanted him to do. He couldn't run from it. The Most High is going to get what he wants. So you can run all you want. You can act like it don't matter all you want. You can act silent all you want. You can put it off all you want. Hey, it ain't me that wants it. It ain't me that's requiring. The Most High requires. Right? But what is he trying to get you to do? He's trying to get you to walk towards your own salvation. That's what it is. That's what we don't look at it as. It's your own salvation. Right? Let every man, give me that one. Let every man seek out his own soul salvation. Give me that one. It's in 1 Corinthians.
And what I was going to say, Chris, was during the drive up to Minnesota, all lost in the sauce in my mind and stuff, I wasn't worried about the Most High. I was trying to peep out for laws. I was trying to peep out for other foods and stuff like that. So when I got skirt off the road, it definitely put some sense back into my mind. But this happened this time last year.
Yeah. But the Most High got you here, right? Through what? He hit you with the Jonah. Right? I'm going to go here and go there. I made my plans, right? Hey, a fool makes plans. A fool makes plans, man, when it comes to the Most High. The Most High knows what he wants and he's going to get it. Right? What scripture did I want? I quoted it. It was, right. Right? It's, maybe we're thinking about something else. 1 Peter 1:9. No, that's not it. That's not it.
Proverbs 9:6, 16 and 9.
What is it? What does it say?
Oh, it's 2:12. Philippians 2:12.
Oh, Philippians 2:12. With fear and trembling. Go to Philippians 2:12.
Come.
Watch.
Philippians 2, chapter 12. Philippians chapter 2, verse 12.
Uh-huh.
Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed,
Yep, this is it.
not as in my presence only,
Go ahead.
but now much more in my absence.
Go ahead, read on. Because there's not going to be someone always with you. Go ahead.
Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Do what?
Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
He said to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You should be shaking like a limb because of the things the Most High has shown you. And for the fact that he's trying to pull you up out of that and bring you into that soul salvation. He said with fear, with respect, man. You should be, man, Lot should have been, bro, they should have been telling him to slow down. Wait a minute, you're moving too fast. Right? But he said he lingered. I'm not lingered, man. You got two angels in front of you talking about they about to rain down fire. First of all, he's seen them blind a bunch of men. I would have been like, whoa, hold on now. Hold on. Wait a minute. But he knew who they were. He knew what type of men they were. And then for the men to be blinded, I'd be like, okay, yeah, now it's time. It's time to go. Don't pack nothing. Let's just go. We're going to replenish everything later. But he tarried, man. What was he tarrying for? What was he waiting on? What do we wait on when it comes to our souls? Well, you can't wait on mama. You can't wait on daddy. You can't wait on your children. You can't wait on, some of y'all are waiting on your hubby. You can't wait on hubby. It says, let every man do what?
Work out your own salvation.
Work out your wife's.
Work out your own salvation.
I gotta wait for my husband to work out his before I can work out mine.
Work out your own salvation.
What about my children and them?
Work out your own salvation.
The scriptures say work out your own soul salvation. You can't wait on nobody for this, man. You got brothers like, oh, how come you didn't come to class? Oh, well, you know, because I was waiting on the brother to give me a ride. Waiting on the brother to give you a ride? There's plenty of rides. If that's the excuse, then that's not a good excuse. You could have got a different ride. Don't wait. Don't wait for your soul. It's your soul. When Yahweh Shai comes, he's not going, hey, how come you didn't do what you had to do? Well, you know, I was waiting on my husband. He slacked off a little bit, so I just kind of just waited for him. Oh, okay, sis, you're right. You got to pass in. No, it don't work like that. He's going to be like, wicked and slothful servant. Right? Let's see. Yeah, go ahead.
This is This is Galatians 4:18. I'll read it real quick. It says, but it is good to be zealously affected always in a good thing. And not only when I am present with you. So pretty much, you know, that you don't got to be around a certain person. Or this person don't got to be around for you to be zealous, especially if you know it's a good thing. If you know you're doing a good thing, don't wait on anybody. Just do it. Or don't wait to be around somebody and then I want to be zealous. Nah, just do it. It's the right thing.
Romans 14:5. One more on that. What you
I
got?
was just gonna say that's why, like you were talking earlier about for newer or younger sisters and brothers to acquaint themselves closely or cleave closely to the elder,
Right.
because they, as elders, they made up in their mind that this is what they want to do. Their salvation, they understand their salvation is at hand.
Yeah.
And so that's why they're deeply rooted in this. But when you entertain them and the ones that aren't rooted, then you have that same mind state as they do, where you're gonna linger or take your time or want to think about it or whatever, because that's the mind that you've been around. That's what you're entertaining.
Yep.
So that's why, again, it's really important to cleave to those spiritually rooted individuals, because they're not gonna tell you this. When they're watering you, they're not gonna water you with Pepsi or Coca-Cola. They're gonna water you with something that's gonna nurture and help you to grow.
The wisdom, the washing of the word.
Kind.
Right? That's why, again, be thou an example of the believers in word and conversation and charity and spirit and faith and purity. Like, this is what we should all be wanting to cling on to. These examples. Romans 4, what I say?
Romans chapter 14, verse 5.
Go ahead, read.
One man esteemeth one day above another.
Right, so one man esteemeth a day. Oh, I love the weekends. Oh, I love Monday is my day. Saturday is my day. Right, go ahead.
Another esteemeth every day alike.
And some man is like, you know what? Every day I got to seek the Most High 10 times more. Some man is like, well, I'm only going to seek the Most High 10 times more when I'm catching hell. Wait a minute, what? But some is like, no, this is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. I'm going to fight daily. I'm going to show the Most High every day. I'm going to seek him 10 times more. Go ahead.
Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind.
At the end of the day, you better be persuaded in your own mind. You better be convinced in your own spirit to seek out your own soul salvation. Just like I think Lot should have been a little bit more diligent in such. He shouldn't have been so quick to linger. All right, let's jump back to Genesis.
Genesis chapter 19, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand.
Yeah, they were like, come on, man, you taking too long. Let's do this. Go ahead.
And upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand
because
of his...
if you linger, then the people that's under you is going to linger. They're going to watch your example. Go ahead.
And upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Most High being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die. Behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one?
Right, the city that he went to was Zoar, which means little one. Go ahead.
And my soul shall live. Slack it. And he said unto him, See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city, for the which thou hast spoken. Hast thee escaped thither? For I cannot do anything.
Haste thee. Right?
Escape thither.
Read.
For I cannot do anything till thou be come thither.
He said, I can't destroy this place until you get to the safety. Yep. Go ahead.
Therefore, the name of the city was called Zoar. Mm-hmm. The sun was risen up upon the earth when Lot entered Zoar. Then the Most High rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Most High out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning.
Now, was it that she looked back? Because I'm sure they all look back to see I would look back to see the destruction. Whoa, dang, right? But it wasn't that she looked back, it was where her mind was. It was where her treasure was at. I'm gonna read this back in the Josephus. I'm in book 11. Book 1, chapter 11, section 4. But the Most High was much displeased at their imputed behavior, so that he both struck those men with blindness and condemned the Sodomites to universal destruction. But Lot, upon God's informing him of the future destruction of the Sodomites, went away, taking with him his wife and daughters, who were 2, and still virgins, for those that were betrothed to them were above the thoughts of going. So his daughters were virgins, but they were betrothed to these men that did not go. Remember, Lot and his wife and his 2 daughters were the only ones that left. The sons-in-laws felt like Lot was mocking. They ain't gonna get destroyed. Just like how they mock America, land of the brave, home of the free. America will never be destroyed. They trying to make plans for 1,000 years from now. And I'm like, whoa, y'all tripping. We ain't gonna be here 1,000 years from now.
Nope.
I mean, I know I'm not. I definitely want to be here 1,000 years. It's gonna get worse and worse. Right? Let's see here. To them were above the thoughts of going, and deemed that Lot's words were ridiculous. The Most High then cast a thunderbolt upon the city and set it on fire with its inhabitants, and laid waste the country with like burning, as I formerly said when I wrote in the Jewish war. But Lot's wife, check this out, but Lot's wife continually turning back to view the city as she went from it, and being too intently inquisitive what would become of it, although the Most High had forbidden her so to do, was changed into a pillar of salt. For I have seen it. Now, we have brothers that went, what was the last holy day? Tabernacles. We have brothers that went out to Jerusalem for the Feast of Tabernacles, and they took a picture. The pillar of salt, it's up on a mountain. You can see the pillar of salt, and the coldest part about it is not too many feet away, not that far away, is the cave that Lot and his daughters went into to seek shelter. She was so close. She was so close to making it, but her mind state of wanting to be with the Sodomites and wondering. The scriptures say, oh gosh, gotta get this one. Is it Peter's? Yeah, it is in Peter's. It says,
Scarcely.
right, and it says, destruction of the house. It's in Peter's. Right, so y'all see that, right? She was looking back. She was looking back, wondering about the Sodomites. Now, who knows what she was wondering? Was she wondering like, damn, my little Sancho man, my Sancho man is dying? Well, it doesn't say that she was cheating on Lot. It don't say that she was having any lesbian sessions with some other woman. It don't say that. She was just too inquisitive of what was going on with their destruction and not worrying about her own soul salvation. That's how y'all get caught up, man. You too worried about the wicked, man. You too worried about what's going on with this wicked person. Well, they catching hell. Let me help them. You can't help them. You can barely help you. You can barely help you. Somebody's trying to help you out your wickedness. You can't really help nobody. Not yet. Get you right, and then you could be a help. But you're not going to be able to stop what the Most High wants to show a person. Right? It's, I'm going to find it. It's not in Peter's. I think it's in the Apocrypha. What does that one say? Right? Hold on. It's in the Apocrypha.
Oh, I got it.
It's in the Apocrypha. I'm going to find it. Right. Gotta find this one. Is that what it's at?
Yeah, 2nd Ezra 9:13.
Here it is. Here it is. 2nd Ezra 9 and verse 13. Ooh.
God. 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 13.
Go ahead.
And therefore, be thou not curious,
Right.
how the ungodly shall be punished.
Right. So it says she was inquisitive. She was too inquisitive on their destruction. But the Bible says what? Read it one more time.
And therefore, be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished,
Go ahead.
and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved.
Yeah, man. Again, let every man seek out his own soul salvation. You're supposed to be putting your mind on, how do I get saved? The wicked is going to get punished. It says the wicked is a ransom for the righteous. So they're going to catch their destruction.
Can I just read this then?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you get it. I think we're actually going there. Where you at? I think we're going there. Watch. Let me see here. No, go ahead. You got it.
This is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 18.
We're not going there.
And if the righteous scarcely be saved,
If the what?
if the righteous scarcely be saved,
Go ahead.
where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
Yeah, man. But the righteous shall scarcely be saved. You're supposed to be that much more worried about your soul and not the wicked people around you that they're not trying to hear you anyway. They ain't trying to hear you. You preach it to the choir, man. You preach it to the choir. You know what? The scriptures say, work to be quiet and do your own work. Shut up, study, and get yourself right. Bottom line.
What was that? 1 Peter?
4 and 18?
4 and 18, yeah. We're too inquisitive on the wicked being checked. Like, man, Most High got to check them. Most High got to check. Are you doing enough to not get checked? Are you doing enough to not get the destruction that they about to get? That's where our minds should be. Listen, the scriptures say, study to mind your business and do your works. That's what the Bible, that's what him said. That's what him said, right? That's what him said. So that's what we got to do, man. Jump back. Did I finish where I was at? Let me make sure I finished. Page 49. So it wasn't that she was just looking back. She was just a little bit too inquisitive, like, man, I wonder who's going to make it. I wonder this. I wonder that. Sure. Right. Let's see here. I've seen it, and it remains to this day. Now he and his daughters fled to a certain small place, built a fire, and settled in it. It is to this day called Zoar, for it was the word which the Hebrews used for a small thing. That it was that he lived a miserable life on account of his having no company and his want of provisions. Right? So, y'all see that she was too inquisitive, man. Jump back to Genesis.
Genesis chapter 19, verse 27. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Most High. And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke to a furnace.
Just like when America goes up, we're going to look across and be like, wow, I've been burning. Yes, I've been burning. It's going to be burning.
You know this story of Sodom and Gomorrah, especially what we just read, it relates to us so much today. It's one of the stories in the scriptures that really relates to this time that we're in more than any other. Like check this out, right? Can I go look?
Oh, where you gotta go?
Check this out. Go to Luke chapter 17 and verse. Luke chapter 17 and verse.
Where you gotta go?
You can read verse 26.
Con. Luke chapter 17, verse 26.
Go ahead.
And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man.
Go ahead.
They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage unto the day that Noah entered into the ark. And the flood came and destroyed them all.
So, the scripture is saying, like in the days of Noah, we ate, we drank, we married, and things just went on normal until Noah went into the ark and that flood came, right? Read.
Verse 28.
Go ahead.
Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot.
Go ahead.
They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all.
So the same here. We ate, we drank, we bought, we sold, we builded. Same things happen in America. America's getting wicked and wicked and wickeder, but nobody's considering that it'll come to an end. Just like in the days of Noah, they were wicked. They were just living their lives wicked as hell.
Just like Sodom and Gomorrah.
And nobody considered like the Most High is going to end it. None of them did. Just like Sodom and Gomorrah.
They were like, wait, we good.
Yep.
We living our lives.
And it's because, like the scripture says, because sentence of an evil work isn't executed speedily, you become fully intent to wax wicked.
It's fully set in the sons of men to do wickedly. Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 11.
Kind. Read on.
God. Verse 30.
Go ahead.
Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed.
It's going to be the same way. Read.
In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop, and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away.
Go ahead.
And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back.
Read.
Remember Lot's wife.
And it switches after that. It says, remember Lot's wife. Why? Because Lot's wife kept looking back at what was going on, right?
That's one precept. Remember Lot's wife.
Just that. What was you going to say?
Was she really turned in a pillar of salt, or was just like a...
No, she's really a pillar of salt.
Yeah.
There's really, I'll find you the photo, but the brothers went there and took the picture.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pillar of salt. That was her.
Kind.
And it was there from that day until now. That's a sign. Remember Lot's, you just said it, remember Lot's wife. You can go see her.
And then a few feet away, like we were saying, you can see the cave.
A few feet
Right
away
there.
is the cave that him and his daughters went into.
That we're going to read about.
So he said, remember his Lot's wife as a precaution to...
As a precaution to looking back towards your old life. Remember, Lot's wife was looking back at her old life and not looking towards the new life. So at any time, any one of y'all want to look back to the abuse, the drugs, the mental health issues, anytime you want to look back towards that, remember Lot's wife. And not just look back on it, oh, well, I'm going to look back and use that for an example to not be that, but look back in glory.
Yeah.
Some of us look back on our old lives and wish that we were still there. You still wish you was a pimp. You still wish you was a hoe. You still wish you was peddling drugs because you was making a better paycheck. You still wish you was on smoking weed to fix your problems. You look back on that like, man, I could be smoking a blunt right now. Well, but I got to read this Bible. Remember Lot's wife. Because what will happen is the Most High will switch you right back to that, take away your wisdom, your understanding, and you'll be a reprobate.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
It's like,
No, the Most High was not playing. The Most High was not playing, man.
Escaping, and she looked back and he just took her out like that.
Yeah, because remember, it said that she was too inquisitive. She was too much wondering in her head, like, man, what's going on there? Why? Instead of saying, you know what, let me focus on how I'm going to be saved. You have your hand up?
Okay.
And then,
Okay, I'm going to read this verse again. Luke chapter 17, verse 31.
right?
In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop, and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away.
Why? You ain't got time for that. When Yahweh Shai comes, you're going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Let me get my books. Oh, hold up. Let me grab that one gold chain with my mama's pendant.
yeah.
Let me grab my birth certificate and my important documents. No. But guess what? Some people will.
Kind.
Some people's going to be like, wait, let me run to the house real quick, because I got some things to grab. No, he said, listen, you don't go into the house for nothing. Go ahead.
And he that is in the field,
Right?
let him likewise not return back.
Yeah.
So, in Assyrian Hebrew script, there's a word for return, or how they say go back to the Most High, is shuv. Make teshuvah back unto Yahweh.
Okay.
And that means return rather than repentance. Repentance, like candy in Christians, is just thrown around. And it's crazy.
Well, to repent, that word means to turn back also.
So it's
Right.
shuv, teshuvah in the Syrian Hebrew. So the snap that I got, the epiphany that I got was, she was making shuv back unto Sodom and Gomorrah. She wanted to return back unto Sodom and Gomorrah. And then it goes on to say, remember Lot's wife.
Right.
Well,
Yes. No, he's right. And watch this. Go to Matthew.
I'm gonna say verse 33 shows it too.
Well, okay, read on.
Read verse 33.
Verse 33. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it.
And that's why it says also to remember Lot's wife, because Lot, his wife was looking back like, damn, that's my life. That's my old life. I don't want that. I don't want to lose that. Like, she really didn't want to lose it. That's another reason why she turned into a pillar of salt. She didn't want to. She liked it. The Most High was delivering her from it, and she liked it. She was like, damn, I know. She saw the homosexuality. She saw everything that was going on there. It's just like America. It's just like America. We've been delivered from that, and we're learning about ourselves in a proper way to serve the Most High. But a lot of us, we still battle with, damn, I miss smoking weed. Not saying me in general, but I miss smoking weed. I miss going out every Friday night and being in the bar and being in the clubs. I miss picking up prostitutes from this and that. Again, not me. But
I miss happy hour. I miss being able to do things and not having the constraints of wisdom to bound my mind. I miss being able to think freely and not having anyone set scourges over my thoughts. That's what it's about. I miss being able to just be ignorant. Ignorance is bliss, right?
You know what it is? The biggest one? I miss just doing what the hell I want to do.
Yeah.
When
I
want
want
to do.
But even in the world, you didn't do what the hell you wanted when you wanted. Stop it. Abadiah.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 4.
Before we go there, well, let's go there.
God.
No, I know. I got you.
2 Timothy.
Whole 2 Timothy's. Go to this one real quick. Go to Matthews.
Alright.
Go to Matthews 6 and 19. Matthew 6 and 19.
God. Matthew
Read.
chapter 6 and 19.
Go ahead.
Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth.
Right. See, this was what the problem was with Lot's wife. Her treasures were on earth. Her treasures were in Sodom and Gomorrah. Go ahead.
Where moth and rust doth corrupt.
Where what?
Where moth and rust doth corrupt.
Yeah, and brimstone and fire burn up.
Dang.
Read.
And where thieves break through and steal.
Right, because all that money you trying to hoard, the moth and dust, all them clothes you talking about you got and shoes you put your foot in, they break apart. All the vehicles you want to worry about, they rust up. All the carnal things is showing you are temperate. But her mind, that's where it was. It was on carnality. It wasn't on the spiritual, wait a minute, my soul is at risk here. My soul is in the balance. It was, wait a minute, I want the pleasures of Sodom and Gomorrah. Go ahead.
Verse 20. But lay up yourselves treasures in heaven.
But what?
Lay up yourselves treasures in heaven.
Go ahead.
Where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt.
Right, because how can a moth corrupt joy? Real joy. How can moth and dust and rust corrupt real peace? How can moth and rust corrupt the fruits of the Spirit? It can't. It can't. Something carnal can't corrupt something spiritual.
I like that.
Go ahead.
And where thieves do not break through,
Right.
nor steal.
Yeah, no one can steal your joy. I don't give a damn what y'all say. I'll never let someone steal my joy. How can you? My joy is in the Most High in Christ. So you stole the Most High from me? You stole the Most High from me. You stole the joy of the wisdom from a person. But your joy gets taken because a lot of us don't joy in the wisdom. You're lonely because you don't make wisdom your companion. Ooh, I need that one. Damn, that just hit me. Go ahead, read on. Ooh.
Verse 22.
Wisdom of Solomon. Go ahead.
The light of the body is the eye.
No, that's it. Now, no, you missed.
Verse 21, I'm sorry.
Verse 21, go ahead.
Lock it. For where your treasure is.
For where your what?
For where your treasure is.
So where your treasure is, this was what was going on with Lot. Her treasure was in Sodom and Gomorrah, not on her salvation. Go ahead.
there where your heart beats.
So that's where her mind was. That's why she had to be destroyed. Because she would have went with Lot to the land of Zoar, and she would have been like, nigga, I'm tired of this. You treated me bad. You took me over here to die. Just like we did in the wilderness, right? Where was our treasure in the wilderness when Moses took us out of Egypt?
In Egypt.
Our treasure was back. Our minds were in Egypt, so that's where our treasure was. And we kept doing what? Wanting to go back. Trying to accuse Moses. Man, you brought us here to die. You brought us here to this. No, he brought us to live. We were so worried about wicked Egypt, we weren't seeing our salvation in the land of Canaan.
Was there any significance and relevance to where Ecclesiastes 25, where they agreed together, where a husband and wife agreed together, and was there significance that the wife got?
Oh yeah, what it was she agreed in body but not in spirit. She was like, yeah, I'll walk with you, but guess what, nigga? I ain't gonna think on the same level as you. See, a lot of, just pertaining to his question, a lot of you sisters walk with your husband, but the disagreement is spiritually. I'll walk, I'll take the steps, and I'll do it grudgingly, I'll do it half-assedly, I'll drag my feet, I'll tarry from day to day, I won't study, right? I won't agree with you, I'll backbite and murmur, I'll go back and forth, I'll rebel in my spirit. I'll do it inside, secretly. But is it really secret?
Nah.
The Most High says he beholds all the secrets of men, the deepest, darkest pits of your inner being. The Most High knows. What you think happened with, again, Lot's wife? He knew what was in her spirit. So he was like, man, you don't deserve this salvation. You don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She didn't want to be saved. I mean, come on. She did not want to be saved. And it wasn't that she was doing something. Well, she was openly. Wow. But in her spirit, her mind was in Sodom. Her mind was in that wickedness. I mean, y'all get this, right? So what am I saying? That you, ye wives, that are subject unto your husband. Your mind, your body can't be your husband's, but your mind is with your boss. Your mind is with your family. Your mind is stuck on carnal things. Well, we ain't got this and that. You can't walk this walk and just do it in the body. Your mind, two that agree in one, your spirit got to agree. Because if not, what will happen is the word will reveal you. It says, the spirit bear witness with your spirit, right? What does it bear witness of? It bears witness of both things. Either you agree or you don't. The spirit will bear witness and show who you are. So if you don't agree, Naomi. Wow. Just a Gatorade, please. The spirit, will bear witness with your spirit, whether you're down, whether you ride or die, whether you'll die for the truth, or if you will abandon the truth. I know. Let's read on.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Oh, go ahead.
Y'all ever watch the movie Matrix?
Y'all all
This is one
down
movie I actually watched.
to die.
But if y'all watch the movie Matrix, remember the dude that was like,
Ignorance is bliss.
was that him? He was. I only saw it.
He was cutting the stick.
But he was like,
Thank
I
you.
know that the steak is fake.
Yeah.
I know that all this is bad.
He said
But
ignorance
I
is
want to go
bliss.
back.
Mhm.
That was Lot's wife. She was like, I know all this is wicked, but in her spirit, she still was like, I want to go back. Think about it. Lot's husband, Lot himself was a just man.
Lot's wife. You said Lot's husband.
Yeah, so Lot himself was a just man.
Because him
So
coming
his
out,
wife.
him coming out of Sodom and Gomorrah, you can't say Lot's husband. They're gonna be like, whoa, wait, what?
I'm tripping.
I know.
So Lot himself was a just man. So obviously, being a just man, he had to have taught his wife and his kids. So his wife would have known right from wrong, just being taught by Lot. So she's leaving, and they're running, and she's like, damn, I know that this is good, but I like that. I want to go back to that. Just like the man in the Matrix movie. He's like, yeah, I know that this is fake. I know that it's evil. I know that it's wrong, but I know that the steak is nasty. I know it ain't real, but I like it. And because she had that, that's one reason.
So
Just like in the movie.
So could you say that lost in her emotions, her soul was wrenching for what was being burnt up?
Yeah, where your heart is, that's where your treasure will be.
Yep.
Yeah. There's this movie. I urge every brother to get you and your wife to watch this movie. It's called No Escape. It's Owen Wilson. And you know, he always does comedies.
God.
But he did this. I watched this movie on Netflix a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh snap. This reminded me of Sodom and Gomorrah. So Owen Wilson goes, he's like a
Pilot.
was he a pilot?
He was second behind. The guy in front of him was the pilot, and he was the one trying to dodge the
No. This ain't not
That's not
that
it?
movie. This is not it. This is where he was over like in China somewhere, and he worked for like some company, let's say electronics, and he's there for a conference, and him, his wife, his children are in a hotel, and there was some coup that happened with the government, and they ran through the embassy, they ran through the hotel, and the things that I got from the movie was this. He told his wife, listen, we gotta go. She didn't second question. She didn't second guess. She just went. They had to jump from one roof to the other roof.
Yep.
Bro, she took them kids and tossed them over. When she saw them guns, she was like, oh! Flung them kids across the roof. Flung himself. She ran, flung herself. It wasn't oh, wait a minute. Let's wait for the first shot to be fired. Bro, she was on it. I was like, damn, if every sister moved like this, man, we'd be in the kingdom. But what it was, he was giving the orders like, listen, this is what we got to do. And she wasn't fighting and rebuttaling in the midst of the battle. See, y'all be waiting for the wrong time to fight and rebuttal. It's like, this is wartime. The bullets is flying. And you're like, well, why I got to do that? Lost. Casualty of war. Casualty of war when it was like, duck.
Yeah.
Why I got to duck? Well, now you know why you got to duck. You got shot.
That's right.
You tell me?
Ew.
What? But brothers do it too.
Yep.
Brothers do it too. Hey, I duck. Why? If I'm with a brother, he's like duck, I'm ducking. And then I'll figure out why later. But I'm a duck. Hey, duck. We be in the mall. Brother be like, hey, behind you. And I'm like, oh, right?
Yep.
I'm like, okay. I hate when brothers don't do that. And then a person comes up behind me. Were you there that time? I don't like people coming up behind me. I got bad experiences. So when you come up behind me, I'm automatically, I almost punched this chick in the face. And I'm not no scary dude. I've had bad experiences. So I don't like people just sneaking up behind me. I don't like it. So when I'm there talking to a brother face to face, and he just lets somebody come up behind me, and I'm like, oh, don't touch me like that. I'm like, y'all gotta say something. Because I will then take my guard down, right? And, oh, okay. But the point was about the movie. You gotta watch it, man. Watch it with your rib. It's called No Escape, Owen Wilson. Came out in 2015. I'm sure you can Netflix it, Redbox it, Kodi, whatever. Google it. But it's a good movie to show how a wife should operate with her husband in times of war. Listen, they came with the guns and she was on it. What do we need to do? He was like, boom, go ahead, do this, do this. And there was time when she got scared, like the roof scene. She was like, I can't do it. And he was like, you gotta do it. He said, listen, you gotta do it. And she was like, shh. And they flung them kids across that roof. He jumped first. She threw the kids into his arms. And then she ran and jumped. I was like, damn. But a lot of the times, man, in the midst of the battle, it's when you want to buck up and rebuttal and argue and get upset and most importantly, ask questions at the wrong time. Don't ask questions when you got to react. React so you don't get hit. Somebody had heard that?
Well, you have you made two.
I made a lot of statements.
Yeah, you did, but
no,
with the Matrix.
Yeah.
You have to go rewind it a little bit where the guy, when they take Neo and they talk about he's born in an invisible prison, that you don't even know that you're in a prison. And number two, most of us don't even know we're in a war.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. You're right.
So you have to think about that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But come on, those of us in here should know.
We know that, but you know, it's man, common sense. Most people out there like whatever.
Yeah, of course we know that they're oblivious. They're running the will of the Gentiles. We should be, us in here, us online that are getting the wisdom should be conscious to see what the Most High pulled us from. The pollutions of the earth, the weak and beggarly elements, the war. Let's not get it twisted. You got pulled from one war to another war. That's all it is. You got pulled from a war that you had no chance of winning to a war that you're going to win if you apply the right things. That's it. But it's still a war. It's still a spiritual battle. That's why it says we're not ignorant of the wiles of the devil. We can't be ignorant how Satan is going to come in this war. That's the difference. So when your husband's like, duck, and you're like, why? Well, too late. That sometimes it's as quick as that. Duck. Why? You already got hit. You already dead asking why. Because if you put yourself on a battlefield and you're in front of a trained, seasoned military general and he says, duck, are you going to second guess his command? No. No, you're not. You're going to duck because you're like, wait a minute, he got military experience. He been in war. He a 15 shield general that been to Vietnam, World War I, II, III, right? Afghanistan, he been here, he been there. Duck. Oh, snap, really? Dang. Stay down. But I'm tired. No, but stay down. Keep your head down. Really? Yeah. You're going to listen. So it stands the same in the spiritual war. Study. Well, why? Just study. You'll see why. That's your duck. Study. Just listen, man. Right? Anyway, where we at?
Oh, I was gonna hit
go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying the story, like really, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah really relates to what we're dealing with and what we're going through right now in America, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. Go back to Genesis chapter 19. Read verse 13. Read that, Jermaine. Genesis 19 and 13.
Genesis chapter 19, verse 13.
Go ahead.
For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Most High.
Isn't the cry of America waxing great? It is, right? Done. Read.
And the Most High has sent us to destroy it.
But in this case, the Most High sent us. We're the ones that are awakened. We're the ones that's going to destroy America. And when I say that, I mean we're the ones that's out here preaching on the corners and waking up our brothers and sisters to destroy America. Not physically, but the scripture tells you that the Most High made us a sharp weapon with teeth that we're going to use to destroy the mountains. Go to somebody give me Isaiah 41 and 15. The mountains represents nations and kingdoms, right? Read that, Isaiah 41:15.
Isaiah 41, verse 15.
Read.
Behold, I will make thee a new sharp I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth.
Having teeth. That instrument that's sharp, that's going to be having teeth. That's us. That's our mouth. That's the word that we're teaching, that we're preaching. Read.
Thou shalt thresh the mountains and beat them small.
We're going to thresh the mountains. Think about it. You have this weapon with teeth. How you going to destroy a mountain with teeth? With regular teeth. The mountain represents a nation, nations, countries. We're going to destroy these countries, man, with the word that the Most High gave us. So go back, read Genesis 19 and verse 14.
And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place.
And think about it. When you found the truth, when you realized that you were an Israelite, didn't you go to your families and your friends and you were like, listen, wake up. We're a part of the 12 tribes. Most High chose us. We're the chosen people of God. Heaven is for us. The kingdom of God is for us. This place is going to get destroyed. You can see it. That is getting destroyed. And what did they do?
You mean white people can't come too?
Yeah, they'll hit you with that.
They did what his son-in-laws did. They mocked.
They mocked, right? The same way they mocked us. Read verse 15. Well, finish it up.
Yeah, what about my wife, boss? How come you can't come?
Right?
Get you out of this place, for the Most High will destroy this city.
And when we telling them to get out of this place, the scripture says, come out of her, my people, right? But it doesn't mean that you literally up and leave America. You come out of the mind state. So we go to our families and we telling them, listen, man, come out of the mindset of America. Stop celebrating Thanksgiving, Christmas, Halloween. Come out of the mindset. That's what we telling them. Read.
But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law.
But that's how they look to us, like, damn, you mocking. You tripping. The same thing they did to Christ. When Christ was teaching and his mother and his brothers came, and they stood without at the temple. Right. They said, his moms, they said about Christ that he's mad. That he's gone mad. He lost his mind. Isn't that what they think of us?
Yep.
Bro, what are you wearing them fringes for? You dress, head covered? Headband? You like a Power Ranger. You lost your mind. They mock. Just like they did then. Read verse 15.
And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife, and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
So we, having the knowledge, what do we have to do? We got to take the ones that's actually in our households. Why? Because if we don't, they're going to be consumed in their iniquity. So we try to teach our brothers and our sisters, and we try to help them so that they don't get consumed with what America has already been doing since we've been here. Consuming us, destroying us, so you can see it all around. Your workplace, your school that you go to, your family members, your friends, you can see they're consumed. They're getting destroyed. Verse 16.
And while he lingered, the men laid upon his hand and upon the hand of his wife and upon the hand of his 2 daughters.
And this is the thing, a lot of us, we linger. And this is the point I wanted to get to. We linger. But the thing about us lingering is this. Jump to verse 22. Why are we lingering? Verse 22.
Haste thee, escape thither, for I can not do anything till thou be come thither.
Listen, the angels told Lot straight up, haste you, get out of here, because I can't do nothing until you leave. So we sitting here and we lingering. We want this place to end. We want our kingdom to come, but we're lingering. We wasting time. The angels can't destroy this place until we get out of here. Hold that. Give me Revelation 7 and 3. Revelation 7 and 3. Read verse 22 again.
And the getting out of here is not
like you
leaving America.
Yeah.
It's the mind state.
It's the mind state.
Yeah.
Read Revelation 7 and start at verse 1 actually.
Revelation chapter 7. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
So you got 4 angels on the 4 corners of the earth. 1 angel on the north, south, east, and west. And they're holding back the winds of destruction that's going to happen here in America. Read. Well,
verse
the whole
2.
earth, I should say. Read.
Verse 2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living high power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of the Most High in their foreheads.
So listen, these angels, they're not going to do what they need to do until these servants are sealed. The servants are what? The 144,000. 12,000 from every tribe, right? So while we're sitting here lingering, we're not being sealed. But the scripture tells you right here in verse 22, haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou become hither. Till thou become thither. How do you become thither? The 144,000 get sealed. When that 144,000 is sealed, that's when this place gets destroyed. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. We sitting here, we lingering, we wasting time, but there's work to be done. There's brothers and sisters that got to wake up. And not only you that's awake, you got to come to a certain point where the Most High is like, you're sealed. you're sealed. We can start moving. But the angels, they're not going to do what they need to do until we're sealed. And this is the coldest part about it all. Just like when America gets burnt up and goes up in smoke and it's going to become a memorial forever, the same thing happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. Read verse 27 in that. Genesis 19:27.
And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Most High.
Read.
And he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace.
And it's the same thing that's going to happen in America. That smoke is going to burn continually. It's damn near. It's. Oh, you can actually read Noah. You can read about Exodus, and you can read this one, and you can see how it's damn near parallel to America. The Most High made it where you can literally see it. That's why the scripture says, you know, the scripture talks about the thief coming in the night. For us, it won't be like a thief coming in the night, because just like we read in Exodus about being in Egypt, when we read about Noah, when we read about Lot, it's the same thing. That was happening then is happening here, and we can see it. But the dope thing is, just like in Genesis, Most High is telling you, if you really want to escape, don't look back like Lot's wife did. Keep running, keep moving forward. Seal yourself. Seal yourself. Come out of her. Seal yourself, because the angels can't do nothing until you get thither. You want it to end? That's what you got to do. So yeah, that's what I had on there. That's what I had on there. But yeah, man, it's something to think about. It's definitely something to think about. If we're not doing what we need to do, why tarry? Why have the knowledge and just sit on it? Why have the knowledge and just sit on it, man? Just waste it. That's why the scripture talks about Christ when he comes. He's going to ask you about your talent. Did you bury your talent? Did you waste your talent? Or did you multiply it? And that's what we got to do, man. We got to multiply our talents.
Where did he leave off at?
He left off at 28. So we'll read 29.
Where does he read?
19 and 30.
Yeah, 19 and 31. Read it real quick.
This is Genesis. We didn't read 29. It's Genesis chapter 19, verse 29. And it came to pass, when the Most High destroyed the cities of the plain, that the Most High remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt.
Right, so he remembered the conversation he had with Abraham about the righteous man in the city. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him. For he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters.
Yeah, that pillar of salt in the cave, they're feet away from each other when you look at the photo that the brothers went out there and took. And it even says it. There's a sign that says Lot's wife. The brothers from House of David, they go out to Jerusalem every year. They try to do either Passover. They try to do at least a feast day or 2 out there. So this year they went out for the Feast of Tabernacles. I'm sure they'll be there for the Passover. But they took those pictures and posted them up on Facebook. Read verse 31.
Verse 31. And the firstborn said unto the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth.
Right. So his daughters were a bit naive, to say the least. They thought the whole earth was destroyed. That's how raw that Sodom and Gomorrah destruction was. They thought the whole earth was wiped out. All right. So next reader. Right. Next reader.
Shu'al.
William, Shabbat Shah, Yahawah, Banya Sha'ala, Imaju. Barak.
Yahweh Shimi Hashab Rakatah.
Yahawah, Shimi, Hashab, Rakatah. That's the ancient sword, Excalibur. The sword of destiny. Yes, sir. Sword of destiny. A little bit. We got this, and then we had Genesis 19:32 to 21:7.
This one's about the
YouTube policy.
because it says that's going to change when it's after the summer.
Accounts.
Genesis chapter 19, verse 32. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also. And go thou in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. And the firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the younger, she also bare a son, and called his name Ben-Ammi. The same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day.
Right. Go to Deuteronomy real quick, 23 and verse 2. Now we get to understand Deuteronomy 23 and verse 2. Now, what were these children that Lot had with his daughters? They were children of what?
Incest.
They were children of incest. Or they would also be called bastard children. They would be called bastards. Now, either they was on some real strong drink. They had to have been on some strong drink back then.
MD 2020.
It wasn't no MD 2020. They had that pure grape. Because for him to get so faded
It's off of wine.
that he didn't know when they got up and laid down. I'm like, whoa, you had to been either he was old and faded or just faded. He was on some drink, man.
He put some X in his drink.
They put what?
Exodus in his drink.
Exodus. They put that X. They mollied their dad. I mean, they did something for where he couldn't perceive when they rose up and laid down, and that he was laying with his own daughters. Right? But they create these children, the Moabites, the Ammonites, these children of incest.
Is that why they're kind of...
Yep.
That's not why. That's a whole nother topic, because if you talk about the Chinese people, they were mixed with Mongoloids and Edomites and all that stuff too. So there's been a lot of mixing. All right, so no, that's not why they're slanted eyed or anything like that. But let's go to Deuteronomy 23 and verse 2.
Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 2.
So we can understand what this scripture is talking about, because a lot of brothers try to use this when it says bastard, it's talking about like some mamzar or some weird giant sleeping with an angel type thing. No. Read.
A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
Right. A bastard should not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Read.
Even to a 10th generation
Right.
shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
Right. So it's telling you a bastard should not enter, right? But It doesn't tell you what a bastard is. But it does. Verse 3, read.
An Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
All verse 3 is doing is reiterating verse 2 and telling you what the bastard is. It took bastard out and put Moab and Ammon. Why? Because they were the first children of incest. That's what a bastard is. It's a child of incest. Or that's one definition, I should say. Now, check this out. When the Most High said that if you're without chastisement, he deal with you as a bastard and not as a son, are you a child of incest? You're a fatherless child, right?
Okay.
So even the word, you got to understand what it's talking about in each scripture. You got to understand the context. That word has more than one meaning. But they come with this, what was it, mamzars? What is a mamzar again?
Mamzar is
Ain't like a giant?
it's like a mixed kid.
But there is no such thing as a mixed kid.
That's what they
You are what your dad is. So
They say you would have to, after like a couple generations removed,
right?
then you're good. But
No, that doesn't make sense because you are who your father is. So there is no such thing as a mixed kid. Right? But there is such thing as a fatherless child, and there is such thing as a child of incest. Right? Go ahead.
Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter in the congregation of the Lord.
Right.
Forever.
Right. Then he goes in and explains some more of the things that they did to Israel when we were in the wilderness. But I went here to show you what is a child of incest. It's Moab and Ammon because their daughters slept with their father. Y'all get that, right? Right. So they created these two different nations of people. So now where we at? Genesis 20? Yeah, you're going to go to 21 and verse 7. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 20, verse 1. And Abraham journeyed from thence towards the south country, and dwelled between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, she is my sister. And Abimelech king of Gerar sent and took Sarah. But the Most High came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation? Said he not unto me, she is my sister. And she herself said, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands have I done this.
Right. So Abimelech was like, listen, when you slay a righteous nation, they feared the Most High. That's why the Most High was able to come to him and say, listen, you dead. Because what was the law?
No adultery.
Don't take thy neighbor's thing.
Right. Don't covet anything. Don't covet your neighbor's house, his wife, or anything of your neighbor's. Right. So they knew the law. He said, listen, you're going to slay a righteous nation? So at one time, these men in this kingdom, they feared the Most High. So he was explaining to himself. He didn't say that it was his wife. He said it was his sister. Right? And this is what he did back in Egypt when he told her, listen, for my life, just tell everybody that you're my sister. Because if they find out that you're my wife, they're going to kill you and take you. Kill me and take you. Right? So go ahead.
20 verse 6. And the Most High said unto him in a dream, yea, I know that thou didst this in the integrity of thy heart, for I also withheld thee from sinning against me. Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that are thine. Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants, and told all these things in their ears. And the men were so afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him, What hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not to be done. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What sawest thou that thou hast done this thing? And Abraham said, Because I thought, surely the fear of the Most High is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. And yet, indeed, she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. And it came to pass when God caused me to... And it came to pass when the Most High caused me to wander from my father's house.
What's that? I have a question on verse 12. What is it? Could you just elaborate on that meaning of that verse, on how it states that?
Right, that's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at right now. Go ahead, read on. Let me...
Come.
Verse 13. And it came to pass, when the Most High caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, This is thy kindness which thou shalt show unto me. At every place whither we shall come, say of me, He is my brother. And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and men servants and women servants, and gave them unto Abraham, and restored him Sarah his wife. And Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before thee. Dwell where it pleaseth thee. And unto Sarah he said, Behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes unto all that are with thee, and with all other. Thus she was reproved. So Abraham prayed unto the Most High, and the Most High healed Abimelech and his wife, and his maidservants, and they bare children. For the Most High had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech, because of Sarah, Abraham's wife.
Okay, so go to Genesis real quick. I might have to write this down because it's a lot of names. So you got, go to Genesis 11, 29. Abraham. It doesn't really go in depth. And the horse life was, read that real quick.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 29. And Abram and Nahor took them wives.
Right.
The name of Abram's wife was Sarah.
Right.
And the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah.
Right.
The daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah. And the father...
Go ahead.
And the father of Ishka.
Right. So Abraham and Nahor. Abraham and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. The name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. Milcah was the daughter of Haran. Okay. The father of Milcah and the father of Ishka. Haran was the father of Milcah. Right. And the father of Ishka. This is what go ahead. Go ahead. Read on.
But Sarai was barren. She had no child. And Terah took Abram his son.
Right. So Terah took Abram his son. Go ahead.
And Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son.
Right. So who was Lot to Abraham?
Nephew.
His nephew. Now remember, Milcah's daughter of Haran. Go ahead.
And Sarai, his daughter-in-law.
So So Sarai, his daughter-in-law, go ahead.
His son, Abram's wife.
Right. Now, you gotta break down all the different connections. Right? You gotta break down. They were close kin, but they weren't
brother and sister, but they were close kin.
Could you just say like they were from the same tribe then?
No, they were literally family members. Because remember, Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran. So that means Terah and Haran were brothers. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They had to have been for Abram to be Lot's uncle. Wait, is that right? No.
No, Lot was the nephew.
No. Lot was the nephew of Abraham. So that means that Abraham was his uncle. Right. So, right, you gotta write this down. You gotta do like a family tree. So Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son. And Sarai. Oh, so Sarai was the daughter of Haran. It says it right there. So Abram and his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law. Sarai was his daughter-in-law. What in the? I gotta look more into it. Just know that we can get it, because every time we get to this point, we're like, wait a minute, all these different people and breaking it down. I gotta write it out and break it down. But just know that they were close in kin. They were probably like second cousins, which it's not unlawful. Maybe even third cousins, but it wasn't unlawful. But they weren't brother and sister, like, oh, they came from the same dad. So when he was saying like my father's, she's the daughter of my father, but not my mother, he was saying that she's on my father's side of things, not my mother's side. You see that? You got your mother's side of your family, you got your father's side. He was just saying she came from my father's side. But they were kin, they were close, they were blood, they had blood relation. That's how we kept the purity. I mean, come on, let's be real. Let's be real. When Noah when Noah and those 8 people were the only people on earth to replenish it, what had to happen?
Cousins.
They had to replenish the earth. A couple of cousins had to do their thing, and that's how it went. It was cousin on cousins.
We call each other brothers.
Right, because no matter what, we were all, no matter how you dice it, we're all blood related.
Yep.
We all come from the same, we're all kinsmen.
Yep.
Right, on a general sense, but then even on a bloodline sense, we all got the same bloodline. You see that? So we're all descendant of Adam. Right? Yeah, but with that, he was just going in to say, well, she's from my father's side of things. That's how they kept what pure though? The blood. Yeah, because the mother's genealogy really didn't matter, but it was the father's. Is it giving it to you?
But Sarah was from his father's side of things.
Mm-hmm. Just descended down, not like right. Just descended down. Just
that's why he said she's also a sister.
But she's still a sister. Think about it. If
Yeah.
you want to get technical,
Yeah.
your Israelite rib that you're sleeping with, she's your family before she was even. We all the same blood, but she's your sister first. Yeah, your Israelite rib is your sister first, and then she's a wife. So if you want to get technical with it, it's blood on blood.
So within that, Lot and his 2 daughters were the very first ones to commit incest.
Well, you weren't supposed to sleep with your daughters.
Okay.
Remember, they had the law.
Okay.
Yeah, so they not saying that they were the first ones to do it, but we know that the Bible illuminates that story because of the nations that came from it. Moab and Ammon were prominent nations in Israel history. Not saying that they probably weren't the first ones. What do you think was happening in Adam? in Adam's time. You think that they wasn't sleeping with their sons and daughters? You think a dad wasn't sleeping with his daughter? Hell yeah, he was. What do you think was happening in Noah's time? Hell yeah, they was doing incest. But all that stuff was getting wiped out. You know? You found something? Oh, you there? Right. I'll get this together for y'all while we read on. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 21, verse 1. And the Lord visited Sarah, and he said,
Right, hold on real quick. We should have read up. Verse 27 in Genesis. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah was one man. He begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran begat Lot. So Abram and Haran were brothers. And Nahor were brothers. So what happened was, let's see here.
Go back down.
Sarai, his daughter-in-law.
So it was his cousin.
His
brother's daughter?
Yeah, his brother's daughter.
Right. Where is this at? It says.
Well, it says that Terah lived
Sarai,
70 years and got Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
Wait, where you?
26.
Where you at? Verse 26. Now these are the. Wait. No, not
but
26.
also in 29, when you look at it as you went back on 27, but on 29 it says Abram's wife was Sarai, the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran. So Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
So you see how they were brothers, but they were marrying their daughters off. Right. So that's how we dealt to keep that bloodline pure for a while. There had to be what it was a preservation, that righteous line. Because even if you go, there's a reason why this is talking about Shem's descendants, right? So you had Shem, and you had Ham, and you had Japheth. You had those three lines. So to keep things pure and for the righteous seed, that went through Shem. So it gives you Shem's descendants all the way through. But I was going through this with Mustafa. I think we were here. You really, when you break down this that's why the Most High said don't get caught up in endless genealogies. Oh my gosh. Because you get lost in this. But when you read this, it starts to split off. This person did this with this person, and they split away, and they become nothing. This person did this, and they split, and then this righteous line just keeps going. So you would have to read all of this Genesis to get the generations of Japheth, the generations of Ham, the generations of Shem. Because even in part of Shem's lineage, if I'm not mistaken, or a part of Shem's lineage, there was an Egyptian. There was an Egyptian, and the line cut off there, but then it continued with another son. So you got to just be real careful when you read these. I just got to go back through it. I'm gonna go back through it for y'all.
The Egyptian that married the daughter of Dan, she was from the tribe of Dan.
I think that was it. But then when you read that he couldn't carry the seed of Israel because he was Egyptian. But the seed was being carried on by another son. It's just that if you didn't see where it split, you would miss that he was a son of the righteous line. Let's see here. Like that one is it.
So also in verse 29, where in the last precept where it says Milcah the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. And they never really talk about Lot's wife, but could Lot wife one of these as well? Because from 11:29 to 12.
That's it. I didn't say that, right? Go ahead, I'm listening.
From 11:29 to 12 in chapter 13, that's where they never really say the name of Lot's wife, but they do part ways. After Abraham went one way and after
right, but at the same time, remember we don't want to add. We can't add anything that's not there. So we just got to deal with what it says. So again, I'll go through this. Sometimes you just gotta. I like to write. Like when it comes to this stuff, I like to write it out and create like an actual tree so I can see it. Yeah, remember, we can't say that she was this family member or the other. It don't say it. It just calls her the daughter-in-law. Why? Because she was married to Abram. Oh, Chronicles? I'm gonna look through it. That's what I wanted to do. It was something I wanted to go over last night and I missed it. Anyway, let's jump back. So remember, he was calling her his sister, a little bit of righteous deception. He was trying to preserve his life, man. Just like he did with the Egyptians, and then who followed suit? Who did the same thing?
Jacob.
Right. He did the same. He followed in his forefathers' footsteps. Right, so where we at?
Chapter 21. Genesis chapter 21. Genesis chapter 21, verse 1. And the Lord visited Sarah, and the Most High visited Sarah, and he said, and the Most High did unto Sarah, and he had spoken. For Sarah had conceived, and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which the Most High had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, and the Most High had commanded him, as the Most High had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that I hear will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age.
Is that it? That was 21 verse 7. You already read? You didn't read. Let yeah, look.
It doesn't.
Well, because right. But you said what?
So I might have it somewhere.
Oh, like writing it out?
Yeah.
Ricardo, you ready?
Ricardo, Shabbat Shah, Yashakur, Ban Yasharalam.
Ricardo, Shabbat Shah, Yashakar. Hold on, you messed me up. Ricardo, Shabbat Shah, Yashakar, Ban Yashala. Imagine? Barak.
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Dam.
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Dam. Huh? Oh, nice. Keep kicking us up.
Oh.
So you're at Genesis 21 and 8 to 22 and 5.
Genesis chapter 21, verse 8. And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac.
Remember earlier when Hagar, it said that Sarah was despised in her eyes and she ran off, and the angel told her to go back, and Abraham said, look, she's in your hands, do whatever you want with her. Here it is now. She's like, man, get her out of here. Enough's enough. She cast her out. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And the Most High said unto Abraham, Let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah hath said unto thee. Hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba.
Now, how many? Think about having to do this. Having to send away your firstborn son because his mom is disgruntled. But he did it. He saddled her up. Here's some bread. Here's some water. Have a nice life. You and the lad.
Someone did that as well, huh? Did someone else send off their firstborn?
I gotta think. No, not that I remember. This is the only one. This is the only one I remember. Yeah, this is the only one I remember where he had to send off the firstborn. Go ahead. There may be another one. We gotta look. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot. For she said, Let me not see the death of the child.
You talking all that mess. You mocking and talking all that, but then now it's time to be there for your child. You don't want to. You can't bear the burden. Go ahead.
And she sat over against him, and lifted up her voice and wept. And the Most High heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of the Most High called to Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, What aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for the Most High hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I'll make him a great nation.
Right, so this was Ishmael's blessing, that he was going to be a great nation. Before, he said that 12 princes would come out from him, right? Right. Before in Genesis that we read last week. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And the Most High opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the bottle with water, and gave the lad drink. And the Most High was with the lad, and he grew, and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran. And his mother took him a wife out the land of Egypt. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Michal, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, The Most High is with thee in all that thou doest. Now, therefore, swear unto me here by the Most High, that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water
which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not who hath done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it but today. And Abraham took sheep and oxen, and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham sent 7 ill lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What mean these 7 ill lambs, which thou hast sent by themselves? And he said, For these 7 ill lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up and Philco, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called there on the name of the Most High, the everlasting high power. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days. Chapter 22, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things, that the Most High did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thy only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him therefore a burnt offering upon one of these mountains which I will tell thee of. Verse 3. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which the Most High had told him. Then on the 3rd day of Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you.
Right. So y'all see what's happening here, right? Ishmael sent off. The Most High told Abraham to go sacrifice Isaac, the child in which the promise was supposed to come forth. Right? Now, I'm going to read this real quick. This is the Josephus, book 1, chapter 13, section 2. Now Abraham thought that it was not right to disobey the Most High in anything, but that he was obliged to serve him in every circumstance of life, since all creatures that live enjoy their life by his providence and the kindness he bestows on them. Accordingly, he concealed this command of God and his own intentions about the slaughter of his son from his wife, as also from every one of his servants. Otherwise, he should have been hindered from his obedience to the Most High. And he took Isaac together with 2 of his servants, and laid what things were necessary for a sacrifice upon an ass. He went away to the mountain. Now, you read to what verse?
Verse 5.
22 and 5?
Con.
Right. We'll pause right there and let the next reader come up. And then we'll read the Bible, and then we'll read the Josephus. So he didn't even tell his wife what was going on when the Most High came and said, sacrifice your son. He didn't tell his wife. He didn't tell his servants. He didn't want anything to hinder him from following even this command. Go sacrifice your son. Man, some of us got a lot of things to look at when it comes to our examples and the men before us, man, the things that they did.
Major Shabbat Shah, Yahawada, Bun Yasharala.
Major, Shabbat Shah, Yahawada, Bun Yashala. Imadi. Barak.
Yahawah Hashem Yahushua Barakatham.
Yahawah Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
This is
Yeah.
that's two nickels.
Really? No.
Seriously.
Really?
Might be a female looking. Let me show you. That's,
It's probably popping name. It could have been too. So you're at Genesis 22, 6 to 24.
Oh, you read 5. So 6. You say 6 to 24?
Okay.
Genesis.
Basically the end of the chapter.
Genesis chapter 22, verse 6. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, the Most High will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which the Most High had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son.
He did what?
Bound Isaac his son.
Right? This is very important. Go ahead.
And laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Most High called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad.
Right, so when you hear lad, you're like, oh yeah. He's like 5 years old, right?
God,
He was like
boy.
7, 8. He's a little ass boy, just being led by his father, right? Check this out. Genesis chapter, I'm going to read it real quick, 18 and verse 19. Very important. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, that they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment. Very important. That the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken of him. Now I'm going to jump here. Justice and judgment. It says, I'm going to jump back to the Josephus, book 1, chapter 13. It's section 1. It says, Now the 2 servants went along with him 2 days, but on the 3rd day, as soon as he saw the mountain, he left those servants that were with him until then in the plain. And having his son alone with him, he came to the mountain. It was that mountain upon which King David afterwards built the temple, or Solomon built the temple. Now they had brought with them everything necessary for a sacrifice, excepting the animal that was to be offered only. Check this out. Now Isaac, the lad, was 25 years old. He wasn't no kid. He wasn't a little boy. And as he was building the altar, he asked his father what was about to offer, since there was no animal there for sacrifice, to which it was answered that God would provide himself an offering, he being able to make a plentiful provision for men out of what they have not, and to deprive others of what they already have when they put too much trust therein. You see that? So the Most High will provide for you out of the things that don't seem well enough to provide. And he'll deprive men that put too much trust in the carnal. That therefore, if the Most High pleased to be present, a favorable at his sacrifice, it would provide himself an offering. As soon as the altar was prepared and Abraham laid on the wood and all things were entirely ready, he said to his son, O son, I poured out a vast number of prayers that I might have you for my son. When you were coming to the world, there was nothing that I could contribute to your support, for which I was not greatly solicitous, nor anything wherein I thought myself happier than to see you grown up to a man's estate, and that I might leave you at my death the successor to my dominion. But since it was by God's will that I become your father, and it is now his will that I relinquish you. Woo! You know why this is cold? Because some of y'all won't even give up your kid for an hour. Some of y'all is like, oh, my kid, like, the Most High gave you the kid. The Most High can take the kid.
That's right.
This story right here is cold. And just as Josephus, it should put a lot of parents at ease in your mind that if it wasn't for the Most High, you wouldn't have the children that you so greatly labor and toil over to keep them in your presence and to keep them about you. And that at any moment, boom, gone. So that mind state that, oh, I got to be away from them from this time and that, you can't let that mind state overtake what the will of the Father is. Right? Because Isaac didn't, and neither did Abraham. Where we at? Right, but since it was God's will that I become your father, it is now his will that I relinquish you. Bear this consecration to God with a generous mind. He wasn't like, man, let me cry to you, my son, because he said, listen, you got to bear this. He said, have a conscious mind towards the Most High. Cold, man. That's why I went to that Genesis. It said he will teach his children, right? The judgments of justice, man. Where's it at? For I resign you up to the Most High, who has thought it fit now to require this testimony of honor to himself, on account of the favors he has conferred on me in being to be a supporter and defender. Accordingly, you, my son, will now die. Not in any common way of going out of the world, but sent to the Most High. This is how Abraham comforted Isaac. He said, I'm going to kill you, but guess what? Your spirit is going right to the Father. And you're not dying just for nothing. You're dying to show the obedience. My obedience to the Most High. The Father of all men, beforehand, by your own father in the nature of a sacrifice. I suppose he thinks you worthy to get clear of this world, neither by disease, neither by war, nor by any other severe way, but which death usually comes upon men. So he was comforting him. He was like, listen, you ain't got to go through the diseases. You ain't got to fight no war. You don't have to die of some strange calamity. I'm going to take you out peacefully. A peaceful sacrifice. I'm going to pray over you. This is how he comforted his mind, man. He didn't sit there and cry and get all over emotional and just lose it. He gave him wisdom.
Right.
He fortified his son even in his, what we've seen as his coming death. Right? But so that he will receive your soul with prayers and holy offices of religion. And I will place you near to himself, and you will be there. And you will there be to me a helper and supporter in my old age, on which account I mainly brought you up. And you will thereby procure me the Most High for my comforter instead of yourself. Now check this out. Let's hear what Isaac says. Surely he was like, nigga, you ain't killing me. You ain't taking me out. Now Isaac was of a such generous disposition as became the son of such a father, and was pleased with this discourse, and said that he was not worthy to be the first, that he was not worthy to be born at first. And if he should reject the determination of the Most High and of his father, he should not resign himself up readily to be both
their pleasures, since it would have been unjust if he had not obeyed. Even if his father alone had so resolved. So he went immediately to the altar to be sacrificed.
Wow.
Man. And the deed would have been done if the Most High had not opposed it. For he called loudly to Abraham by his name and forbade him to slay his son, and said, it was out of a desire of human blood. It was not out of a desire of human blood that he was commanded to slay his son, nor was he willing that he should be taken away from him whom he had made his father, but to try the temper of his mind, whether he would be obedient to such command. And you know what's called, man? A lot of the times, the Most High tests us, because remember, and it came to pass after these things that God tempted Abraham. So what should come to your mind next? I'm gonna let y'all think. The Most High don't tempt with evil. The Most High don't tempt with evil. So was it an evil thing that he told Abraham to go sacrifice his son? No. He was just seeing where his mind was at. He was testing those loyalties. He was testing his faith. First of all, he told him the promise is coming through Isaac. Not going to kill him? The Most High is not a man that he shall lie.
Both of them were tested.
Huh?
Excuse me, I didn't mean to speak up. Both of them were tested at technically.
Both of them were tested. But see, when you read it in the scriptures, you're like, oh yeah, he just took a little boy and just strung him up. No, he took a grown man. And a grown man was like, I'm not even worthy to be born. Go ahead and take me out.
My question was going to be on that part. When it says he wasn't like worthy to be born, how was he taking that? Like
he was just showing his humility, man.
Okay.
He's like, I wasn't even worthy to be here. But I'm gonna go out this way. It's all good. I'm not gonna go against it because that's what the Most High wanted. But remember, and I know him. He will teach his sons. So how was Isaac able to walk to this point? It said he ran to the altar. Like, yeah, sacrifice me. Come on, man. What had to be? What Abraham had to been sitting there and instilling in his sons? Wisdom, knowledge, understanding. It wasn't, LeBron, Michael Jordan, video game, this, let's go play catch, let's go ride the bike. It wasn't that. It was, man, this is what the Most High from birth. Ricardo, and then.
Okay, so within context of this, so my wife and I do not have neither of our children.
Right.
4 children we do not have.
Right.
And understanding that there's sacrifice in it, do we or do we not, and this is a question that's in my mind, take necessary with faith works to one day hopefully get them, or just kind of just like sit back, relax, stay faithful, stay obedient, stay come to class, stay marching, stay learning, stay studying, so on and so forth? Well,
the Most High don't want you to be without your children.
Okay.
Now, just like Abraham, the intent wasn't for him to be without his kids. Well, he said it, right? The intent was to see where's his mind at. Now, put your sacrifice in this, put it like this. Your sacrifice is them just not being around for a while. Now, the Most High will work it out to where when he's ready, right, he'll make a way. And you'll know it's the Most High because you won't have to make some secret plans. You won't have to construct a secret mission and go on some goose hunt, some rabbit hunt, wild egg hunt to go get your kids. Guess what he'll do?
Yeah, bring them to you.
Man, they'll get hand delivered. Somebody will make a phone call. Next thing you know, hey, we coming to Houston with the kids. Really? Yeah. But it's about what you're doing. It's about what you're doing. What's up?
I can attest a little bit to that. Like, that's a little small testimony on my end. Like, there was a time where I wasn't seeing either one of my sons, and it's crazy how the Most High works, because it wasn't until I came into this camp that doorway was actually open. Just so happened that the business that helps us fund this school is what gave me that doorway to see my child. Didn't have a clue that my rib knew about the business. Had no idea, but come to find out, it was this school and that business that happened to bring us back together again in order for me to start seeing both of my boys. So it's weird how things happen, but it took for me to like be planted here. I think I was planted here like maybe 6 or 7 months before I even had a chance to see my son. So, you know, you got to just really put the faith in the Most High. If you're going to be here, just put forth the work, and then everything else will fall into place, so to speak.
Go to Proverbs 16 and verse 7. Proverbs 16 and verse 7. So yeah, remember, Ecclesiastes 2, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare yourself for temptation. So what is your temptation? Well, you can go chase your children. Or you can sit here, get the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding on how to deal with your kids and never lose them again. Sometimes things are taken away from you, and it's not always bad. Sometimes things are taken away from you because it's too much for you to handle. And you don't have the necessary equipment and tools to handle what it is. Not everybody, because you pop out kids, no knock on you or your rib, but just because you pop out kids don't mean that you're a parent. It don't make you a father because you can pop out a child. Every male can do that. Monkeys have babies, right? But it's how you deal with them and the wisdom and knowledge that you show them. So you gotta look at it as this is your temptation. Do I go chase, or do I sit here, get the wisdom so that when I do get them, guess what? Now I know how to deal with them. In the meantime, read Proverbs 16 and verse 7.
Proverbs chapter 16, verse 7.
Right?
When a man's ways pleases the Most High,
come on,
he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
And this is what we all gotta realize, is that when you please the Most High in your doings, he said even your enemies will be at peace. Yep. So that means that everything that's not an enemy will be at peace and everything will work out for you. Remember, he said, I know the thoughts that I have towards you, thoughts of peace and not of evil. Right. So he don't want you to be in the mindset of, always worried about the kids, and then now I gotta go chase them, and you run away from him. But there has to be some level of sacrifice for everyone. Everyone's level of sacrifice is different. But when you first come in, there's always something that's there for you to have to run back to. Just like when the Most High pulled us out of Egypt, there was something that was there that we could have used as what? An excuse to have to run back and say, no, I gotta go do this instead of serving you, right? When they came to Yahushua and he was like, drop that, follow me. He was like, well, I gotta go dedicate my house. Well, I gotta go bury my this. I gotta go. He was like, let the dead bury the dead. Right. Forget about the house. Don't worry about all that, right? He had to show him, like, those excuses, man, they're not needed. Do for me, and guess what? If you seek your life, you'll lose it. If you lose your life, you'll gain it. Sis.
That's like, my father passed away on Monday, and I spoke with Priest Dahawam, and he's like, you should not go. And I was like, no, I want to go and see his body one more time. Well, then the decision was made without my knowing that they were going to cremate my father. And I got another warning from Priest Dahawam that I should not go at all.
Right, so, because that's the temptation trying to pull you away from where you should be. That's a temptation, because think about it, and I know the situation, but it wouldn't have been a good situation just dealing with your family to walk into, right? Right, but then who knows where that could have led you? Who knows where that could have led you? So sometimes, man, all the time, it's really about, let me do for the Most High, and he'll cut corners for me. He'll make things work in my favor. Like, I'm gonna turn into a prosperity teacher right now, right? You sow that seed, man, it'll grow. Like, but no, it's real. It's real. I got stories that I can say, well, yeah, the Most High did this, this, and this, and guess what? The whole time I just been sitting here teaching. I don't care a damn about nothing that's going on. I don't care about nothing that goes on outside the school or outside my house. I don't care. I really don't. Like, I'm not oblivious to what goes on around me, but I don't let none of that stuff. I got other kids, I don't let that pull me. Nothing. I sit here and do my job, and I say the Most High is going to work out whatever he got to work out.
Right.
I can chase whatever I want to chase.
Right.
It ain't going to work. So I sit here, I do what I got to do. You deal with the little, I guess, the situation as it comes or as it happens. But now I'm gonna go to the scripture you called 2 Timothy 2 and verse 4. Right? Now I'm gonna go here. Now I'm gonna go to this scripture, 2 Timothy 2 and verse 4.
Come on. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 4.
Read.
No man that warreth.
I'm in a war. And I realize that from the jump. We all in a war. Go ahead.
No man that warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life.
Yeah, man. We can't be caught up in the affairs of this life. We have to be caught up in what the Most High wants, his work. And guess what he does? He handles the affairs of this life. Because there ain't really nothing you can do.
That's right.
There's nothing you can do in the affairs of this life except for get angry, get upset, get emotional, drink yourself to death, get high, and then the problems are still there. And now you just smoked yourself to death and drank and got high and tainted your body and ruined your spirit. What you can't do is, well, you know what? What pleases the Most High? Well, he said if I study, he said if I apply, if I bow my ear, if I listen, if I be a good example, those things please the Most High. Not worrying about things that, guess what? You worried about things that the Most High put into play in your life to see where you at. He took them kids to see what you gonna do when you get here. You gotta see it, man. The Most High is like a symphony orchestrator, and he just does this with the wand, and this happens, and then this happens, and then next thing you know, you in Houston. Your kids are here, and you're like, whoa, what do I do? Do I gas up the car and go chase them? Or do I sit here and do the work? And let somebody else, like the scriptures say, let strangers bring the children. That's what's going to happen. They're going to get delivered. You're going to be like, oh, wow, Rakatayah.
Yep.
And even if that don't happen, because you don't know when it's going to happen, what do you have to have? Faith and patience.
That's right.
And long suffering. And if the Most High, whatever the way the Most High makes it work, man, he'll make it work. You'll know. My point is, you'll know when the Most High says go. You'll know because it'll open up. It won't be no constraint. It won't be nothing hard. You don't have to overthink it. Things will start happening, and you're like, oh yeah, it's time.
It won't be chaotic.
It won't be chaotic.
And then I wanted to also add Matthew 6 and 33. When we seek the Most High first,
Right? Let's go there.
kingdom and his righteousness.
Go to Matthew 6 and 33. Well, remember, Ecclesiastes 2. My son, if I come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Now, a lot of the times your temptation is what you're trying to separate from. Before you got here. So you got here and you had the disgruntled rib that hated everything, and she follows you into the truth. That's going to be your temptation. To follow her and bow to her, or be a man. Right? Or you got the baby mama that's keeping your kids from you. The temptation is, well, do I chase the kids or do I chase the work? That's up to each and every man and woman. The temptation, or you have situations where a sister get here, her kids gets taken, or one kid gets sent back to where she came from. Now, do I chase that one kid or do I do the work for the other kids that I got here? That's prepare your soul for temptation. Now, Abraham said the Most High tempted him, but he also said he don't tempt with evil. So we know it wasn't an evil thing that he was trying to do. He was trying to show Abraham where he was. Show him that virtue that he had in him. Read that.
Matthew 6, chapter 33. Verse 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High.
Right.
And his righteousness.
Go ahead.
And all these things shall be added unto you.
Read.
Take therefore.
Right. All these things shall be added unto you. Whatever your heart's desire, man, in righteousness. Remember, Most High didn't give you children just for them to be separated from you. Right? But he also said what? He said, don't take pride in ungodly children. Right? So how do your children become ungodly? Well, because you're ungodly. So he's like, wait a minute, let's get you right, so that way when you get your kids, you can teach them about me. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Go to James. Go to James 1:13.
James chapter 1, verse 13.
Go ahead.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High.
Right, and what it's saying is this temptation, because didn't it say Abraham was tempted? Right, but this temptation is what? Well, I fell to sin. Oh, Yahweh, you got me chasing the big booty. No, I don't. No, I don't. You chasing it because you want to. You made me fall because you put her, the big booty stripper, in front of me, and somehow you just ended up at the damn bachelor party with the big booty stripper in front of you. That's the Most High's fault? No.
Tripped and fell.
You tripped and fell and landed? Yeah, she tripped, fell, and landed. No. See, it's talking about being tempted with evils. The Most High don't tempt with evil, but you will be tempted. Now again, Abraham, what the Most High was putting him through wasn't an evil temptation. He was testing out his faith, his belief, his long suffering, his different virtues. Go ahead, read on.
For the Most High cannot be tempted with evil.
Right, so when it's evil temptation, like the Most High didn't put the weed blunt in front of you, or the cigarette, or the e-cig, or the vape pen. That ain't the Most High, man. Stop. Like Yahweh, you did this to me. No, he didn't. You got the urge, you didn't fight it. You got in the car, you didn't fight. You turned the car on, you didn't fight. You drove to the corner store, you didn't fight. You got the rolling papers, you didn't fight. You called the weed man twice, he didn't answer. You texted him. Then you called the backup weed man. That ain't Yahweh's fault. That's you. He gave you a way out. How come you didn't call a brother? How come you didn't call somebody that could get you out that mind? So he don't tempt with evil. When it's an evil, when you're tempted to go do evil, he ain't tempting you with that. Now, some things are there to test you. Like, again, children. When my kids ain't around, what do? You better get acquainted with this word. You better fill that void with the Bible, or a wise conversation, or someone that's going to counsel you the right way. But we try to fill the voids with the wrong things, man. We try to fill the voids with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Netflix and chilling, and then everybody else got their kids on Netflix. You watching Raising Dion, like, oh my God, he's such a cute kid. You miss your kids, but you watch Raising Dion. Superpowers. It's a good show, right? But my point is the void, man. Fill the void with wisdom. Meditate on wisdom, then it won't be a void. You'll fill that void completely. A void that has to keep being filled is never filled. You just putting a band-aid on the situation.
First I want to give praise and honor to the Most High Yahweh by Shem Hashai, because earlier last year this time that happened. When I was 23 is when somebody gave me a book inside the barbershop, the Bible inside the barbershop. My kids got ripped away from me, and then that happened around this time too when I was 23 when they got ripped away from me, and around Passover, the following months after, I was having this conversation with the mother of my children, and she was mocking me. She's saying, "You're never gonna see your children ever again." Woodoo woodoo. That shit, that got me. I broke down, and then I heard this very vivid voice. It was like, yo, who said you're not going to see your children? And I say you're not going to see your children. Then, fast forward, I turned my back away from the Most High when I was 26. So 27 to 28, I was just smashing and dashing and just acting a fool. And then, even from there, from 26 to now, like I haven't seen my children at all. But before I came to the school, I had a missing persons report on me. I got left in Mexico. I almost got, so on and so forth. I still, but all praise and honor be unto the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh, that I'm able to now that the realization that soon I'll be able to be reunited with my children, my 12 and 11. I'm 30 years old. I have a 12 and 11-year-old, and I'm married. I got a nation to walk with. I got brothers to be sharpening myself up. That's just something powerful for me to even just be speaking out boldly, because all that was my life, but now this year, this is my life. And I feel more alive today than I was when I was 23 or 26 or 28, you know what I'm saying?
Cool.
Yeah, it's that wisdom. And all it is keep doing what pleases the Most High, and He'll give you what you want. After you do the will of the Most High, you may receive the promise. All right? So, where we at?
Back in Genesis. Book of Genesis, chapter 22, and verse 9. No, Salakia. I was in verse. Yeah, verse 9.
Verse 12, baby.
Was it verse 12? The water. Book of Genesis, chapter 22, verse 12. And he said, lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest the Most High, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram, and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his sons. And Abraham called the name of the place Jehovah Jireh, as it is said to this day, in the mount of the Most High it shall be seen. And the angel of the Most High called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, by myself have I sworn, saith the Most High, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba. And Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass, after these things, that it was told Abraham, saying, behold, Milcah, she had also borne children unto thy brother Nahor. Huz, his firstborn, and Buz, his brother, and Camil, the father of Aram, and Chesed, and Hazo, and Pildash, and Jalepha, and Bethuel, and Bethuel begat Rebekah. These 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abraham's brother, and his concubine, whose name was Reumah. She bare also Tibah, and Gaham, and Tahash, and Makkah.
Right, so now we're going to jump over to 2 Kings 4 and 1. Any questions on Genesis? No? 2 Kings 4 and 1. 2 Kings 4 and 1 to 13. No, Major's going to finish. 4 and 1 to 13, yeah.
2 Kings chapter 4 verse 1. Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Thy servant my husband is dead, and thou knowest that thy servant did fear the Most High. And the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen. And Elisha said unto her, What shall I do for thee? Tell me, what hast thou in the house? And she said, Thine handmaid hath not anything in the house, save a pot of oil. Then he said, Go, borrow thee vessels abroad of all thy neighbors, even empty vessels. Borrow not a few. And when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door upon thee and upon thy sons, and shalt pour out into all those vessels, and thou shalt set aside that which is full. So she went from him, and shut the door upon her and upon her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. And it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said unto her son, Bring me yet a vessel. And he said unto her, There is not a vessel more. And the oil stayed. Then she came and told the man of the Most High. And he said, Go, sell the oil, and pay thy debt, and live thou and thy children of the rest. And it fell on a day that Elisha passed to Shunem, where was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as oft as he passed by, he turned in thither to eat bread. And she said unto her husband, Behold now, I perceive that this is an holy man of the Most High, which passeth by us continually. Let us make a little chamber, I pray thee, on the wall, and let us set for him there a bed, and a table, and a stool, and a candlestick. And it shall be, when he cometh to us, that he shall turn in thither. And it fell on a day that he came thither, and he turned into the chamber and lay there. Was that it?
Verse 14.
Salaki. And he said to Gehazi his servant, Call this Shunammite. And when he had called her, she stood before him. And he said unto him, Say now unto her, Behold, thou hast been careful for us with all this care. What is it to be done for thee? Wouldest thou be spoken for the king, or to the captain of the host? And she answered, I dwell among mine own people.
Right, so this woman seen this prophet, and she wanted to make him a little chamber in the house. So he asked her, what do you want for showing favor to me? Right, so as we read on, you're going to read verse 14 all the way to the end of the chapter. 37, my bad, 37.
Come.
All right, 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 14. And he said, What then is to be done of her for her? And Gehazi answered, Verily, she hath no child, and her husband is old. And he said, Call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the door.
Right, so Gehazi was Elisha's servant, right? Go ahead.
And he said, About this season, according to the time of life, thou shalt embrace a son. And she said, Nay, my lord, thou man of God, do not lie unto thine handmaid. And the woman conceived and bare a son at that season that Elisha had said unto her, according to the time of life. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father to the reapers. And he said unto his father, My head, my head. And he said to a lad, carry him to his mother. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon and then died. And she wept and laid him on the bed of the man of God and shut the door upon him and went out. And she called unto her husband and said, Send me, I pray thee, one of the young men and one of the asses, that I may run to the man of God and come again. And he said, Wherefore wilt thou go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. And she said, It shall be well. Then she saddled an ass and said to her servant, Drive and go forward. Slack not thy riding for me, except I bid thee. So she went and came unto the man of God to Mount Carmel. And it came to pass, when the man of God saw her afar off, that he said to Gehazi his servant, Behold, yonder is that Shunammite. Run now, I pray thee, to meet her, and say unto her, Is it well with thee? Is it well with thy husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, It is well. And when she came to the man of God to the hill, she caught him by the feet, but Gehazi came near to thrust her away. And the man of God said, Let her alone, for her soul is vexed within her. And the Lord had hid it from me, and had not told me. Then she said, Did I desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, Do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, Gird up thy loins, and take my staff in thine hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute thee, answer him not again. And lay my staff upon the face of the child. And the mother of the child said, As the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before them, and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing, wherefore he went again to meet them, and told him, saying, The child is not awake. And when Elisha was coming to the house, behold, the child was dead, and laid upon his bed. He went in therefore, and shut the door upon them twain, and prayed unto the Lord. And he went up and lay upon the child, and put his mouth upon his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands. And he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. Then he returned and walked into the house to and fro, and went up and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. And he called Gehazi and said, Call the Shunammite. So he called her, and when she was come in unto him, he said, Take up thy son. Then she went in and fell at his feet, and bowed herself to the ground, and took up her son, and went out. And Elisha came again to Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land, and the sons of the prophets were sitting before him. And he said unto his servants, Set on the great pot, and seethe pottage for the sons of the prophets. And Will went out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered thereof.
Wait, did you read to 36?
Oh yeah, I did.
Right. Right. So y'all understand that, right? Right. Let's go to Luke. Luke 1 and verse 26. So it was just showing some miracles of Elijah, right? Brought back the son from the dead. The woman that was, her sons were going to be taken into slavery. Got the oil for them to sell. Right? Go to Luke 1:26.
Luke chapter 1 and verse 26. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth.
Right?
To a virgin espoused to a man.
To a what?
To a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph.
Right?
Of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary.
Now, everybody, I'm not going to go so deep into this, because we'll be here all day. But a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph. Right? Go ahead.
Of the house of David.
So, in this story, a lot of people feel like, or the Christian church teaches that Gabriel came to Mary and somehow he overshadowed her and then she had a baby. Because it said that she was a virgin. because it said a virgin will bring forth a son. Right?
God.
It does say that, right?
God.
Right. Now, it says that she was a virgin that was espoused to a man. Now, I went over this whole class about espousal and betrothal, and we went into this story, and she was espoused to Joseph, but at this time they had not lain together yet. They had not laid together. Remember, the angel came to Mary first. Here in Luke, then he went to Joseph after they laid together in Matthew. So he came here first to Mary, then he went to Joseph in Matthew. Just because you get Matthew first don't mean that that's the chronological order of the story. The Bible is not in chronological order. Y'all know that, right? Right. The Bible's not in chronological order the way we have it. So we got to keep that in mind. A virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph. Yes, she was a virgin. Check this out. And what we have to understand is the word virgin. We went over this the other day in class. The word virgin has more than one meaning. Go to Genesis 20. Go to Genesis 24. And verse 16.
Genesis chapter 24, verse 16.
So if you didn't know what a virgin was, according to the Bible is going to tell us. Read.
And the damsel was very fair to look upon.
Right?
A virgin.
A what?
A virgin.
Read.
Neither had any man known her.
Right, so why did they have to say, if just being a virgin was about sex, not having sex, why did it have to say it twice? She was a virgin, neither did any man know her. A virgin was a woman of maritable age. All right? So, at this time in Luke, yes, she was a virgin that did not have sex with any man, because she even said it. She said, how will this be so? I haven't even known a man. When Gabriel was talking to her. Because that's what was going on with her at that time. So a virgin, right? It's not just sexually. She was a maid. She was a woman that was able to be married. She was of age. Jump back to Luke.
Luke chapter 1 verse 27.
Right.
So a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph.
Right.
Of the house of David.
Right.
And the virgin's name was Mary.
Right, because being espoused doesn't make you married as far as the technicality of laying together. They were espoused. They were promised in marriage. That's what espousal means, or betrothal. We went through it, right? Go ahead.
And the virgin's name was Mary. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou that art highly favored.
Right.
The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women.
Right, so Gabriel came to her and spoke. He didn't come to her with his pants down. He didn't come to her ready to get it busy with a bottle of Remy and some slow jams. He came and he spoke to her.
Come on.
Read.
Thou art highly favored. The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying.
At his what?
She was troubled at his saying.
At his saying, because he spoke to her. Go ahead.
And cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with the Most High.
Right, go ahead.
And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb.
Thou shalt do what?
Conceive in thy womb.
Right. Thou shalt conceive. Thou shalt, meaning future tense. You shall do something. Conceive. Go ahead.
In thy womb, and bring forth a son.
Now, how does a woman conceive in her womb? Sex. So she was a virgin at this time. She wasn't going to be a virgin sexually anymore.
Right.
But she was still a virgin because she was a woman of maritable age, even after her husband lay with her. You see how that definition threw people off? It threw a whole religion off. Go ahead.
And shall call his name Yahushua.
Read.
He shall be great.
He shall be great, meaning he's going to be future. Go ahead.
and shall be called the Son of the Highest.
Right?
Ooh.
And the Lord Yahweh shall give unto him the throne of his father, David.
Right. So he's giving you future tense. Go ahead.
Then it says the throne of his father, David.
Right, which David was not his father. But how was he his father? Forefather, lineage. Go ahead.
And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Then said Mary unto the angel, How shall this be, seeing I know not a man?
Right.
And the angel answered and said unto her.
She said what?
And the angel, Salakia, then said Mary unto the angel, How shall this be, seeing I know not a man?
Right. How can this be, seeing that I know not a man? Go ahead.
And the angel answered and said unto her.
Because it's fair to say that she didn't even know she was betrothed. Remember, the betrothal or the espousal wasn't between the daughter and the man. It was between the man and the father. The father of that woman and that man. You see that? When you went to that man's daughter, or excuse me, you went to that daughter's father and asked him to betroth his daughter. So the betrothal was set up between them. Just if you're going off of the way we did our custom. If they went customarily, this is how it would have been done. Right. Joseph went to Mary's father. You're now betrothed, and she may not have caught wind to it yet. Just as yet. That's why she said, How can this be, seeing I know not a man? I don't know no man. I ain't kicking it with nobody. I ain't talking to nobody. I ain't on nobody's Snapchat. Right?
Right.
Go ahead.
God. And he shall reign. Slack verse 34, verse 35. And the angel answered and said unto her, The Holy Spirit shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee.
The what?
The power of the highest
It
shall.
said the Holy Spirit shall come upon you. What does that mean? That when you read in Isaiah 11, right? Go there real quick. Isaiah 11 and verse 1. See, they get it twisted like the Spirit of the Most High somehow ejaculates into women. Doesn't make sense. When it said the Spirit of the Lord shall come upon her, what needed to happen was she had to be given instruction on what to do next. That's why when you read down, Elizabeth said there had to be a performance of what was told to you. She had to know what to perform. But she had to have the Spirit on her. Just like the Spirit was on Elizabeth, and she didn't get pregnant by the Spirit, but she got pregnant by John's dad. Same thing. Read Isaiah 11 and 1.
Isaiah 11 and 1. And there shall come forth a root out of the stem of Jesse.
Read.
And a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him.
Right.
The Spirit of
the Holy Spirit, Spirit of the Lord, same thing. Go ahead.
The Spirit of wisdom.
So she was given wisdom. What else?
And understanding.
She was understanding what she was supposed to be doing. She had to understand that, wait a minute, I'm gonna meet a man, he's gonna get me pregnant, and that's what's gonna have to happen. But I'm gonna raise this child, name him, this is what he's gonna be doing. She kind of forgot what the angel told her, because remember when they went up to the Passover, when Yahushua was 12, they left, he stayed. She's like, why did you deal with me like this? He said, I be about my father's business. She kind of forgot about what the Spirit told her. Like, wait a minute, why you deal with us like this? Why you just disappear? He was like, listen, I'm about my father's business. Read on.
The Spirit of counsel.
The Spirit of what?
Counsel.
Right. You need to go talk to your husband about what's going on. Read.
And might.
Read. Be strong. Be courageous, because they're going to be trying to seek your son's life. Guess what? Now we got to run to Egypt. We got to run to this land, run to that land. She had to be strong. These are the attributes that were put on her. Not a baby put in her by the Spirit. Go ahead.
The Spirit of knowledge.
The Spirit of knowledge. Go ahead.
And of the fear of the Lord.
And she, most importantly, had to fear the Most High and do what was told to her. Go ahead.
And shall make him of quick understanding.
Understanding things quickly.
And the fear of the Most High.
Right. So these are the things that were put on her. Jump back to Luke. I'll take over. So where did you end up at? Luke chapter 1 verse 30. I'll read verse 36. And behold, thy cousin Elizabeth
she had also conceived a son in her old age, because Elizabeth was barren, right? And this is the 6th month with her, who was called barren. She was pregnant with John the Baptist. For when with the Most High nothing shall be impossible. And Mary said, Behold, the handmaid of the Lord, be it unto me according to thy word. And the angel departed unto her. And where am I going to? That's it. Now we jump over to Luke 24 and verse 36. And you can read the rest of that story, but even Elizabeth said there had to be a performance out of the things that was told to Mary. But she had to have the Spirit to move in the Spirit. Right?
God.
So now we go to Luke. Oh, I'm in John. Wow, true. Luke 24. Luke 24, 36. So Luke 24, 36. And as they thus spake, Yahushua himself stood in the midst of them and saith unto them, Peace be unto you. Now this is after Yahushua had been crucified and risen. He presented himself to the apostles. But they were terrified and afraid and supposed that they had seen a spirit. Why? Because to their knowledge, he was dead. And he said unto them, Why are ye troubled? And why do thoughts arise in your hearts? Behold, my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Handle me. So he said, Touch me and see. For a spirit hath not flesh and bones, as ye see me have. And when he had thus spoken, he showed them his hands and his feet. And while they yet believed not for joy and wondered, he said unto them, Have ye here any meat? Why was he doing this? To show them, man. Angels ain't eating. Right? Spirits don't eat. Spirits don't have flesh and bones that you can touch. And they gave him a piece of broiled fish and of an honeycomb. And he took it and he did eat before them. Remember, it said that the angels in heaven, they neither eat or drink or marry or given in marriage. Right? That's in Matthew's. And he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled. Remember? Matthew 11:19. I'll come not to destroy, but to fulfill. What was he fulfilling? The prophecies, the word, all the things that were written about him. He came to fulfill those things, which were written in the law of Moses about me. So in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning me. You see that? Then opened he their understanding, that they might understand the scriptures. Now they were like, oh, man, you have to go through that. Remember when he was like, the Son of Man will be offered up to strangers? And Peter was like, they ain't taking you. And Yahushua was like, you got the devil on you.
Yes.
He said, man, I rebuke you, Satan. Right? Because Peter wasn't understanding the prophecies, man. He wasn't understanding what was written. So now they're like, oh, I get it. I get it now. Right? Verse 48. And said unto them that it is written, and thus it behooved Yahushua to suffer and to rise from the dead the third day. And that repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. Why? Because we were scattered. Remember, he told them in Matthew's what, 10:5? Go not into the way of the Gentiles or the house of the Samaritans, enter ye not, or go rather to the lost sheep. Right? Wake them up, and then now go to all nations. Why? Because Israel was scattered throughout the four corners. And ye are witness of these things, and behold, I send the promise of my Father upon you, but tarry ye in the city of Jerusalem until ye be endowed with power from on high. Where am I going? 53. And he led them out as far as Bethany, and he lifted up his hands and blessed them. And it came to pass, while he blessed them, he was parted from them and carried up into heaven. And they worshipped him and returned to Jerusalem with great joy, and were continually in the temple praising and blessing the Most High. Amen. Go to 2 Peter 2. Did you? Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about it. Go to 2 Peter 2. Last part of the scripture, and if y'all got questions. That was weird. Really? Nah.
It doesn't say it 100%, but you look at it.
2 Peter 2 and verse 4.
2 Peter chapter 2.
No, it's part of my reading.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of my reading. For if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down into hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, and the preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with a great overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly, and delivered just Lot, vexed with filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vex his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment, to be punished. You see that? That's why the wicked, it says the wicked is the ransom for the righteous. We don't worry about the wicked, man. We had our 2 Peter 2, I'm at verse 9. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the ungodly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust to the day of the judgment, to be punished. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh, in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Now, when you read this chapter, it's going in about false prophets, false teachers. Whereas angels, which are great in power and might, bring not a railing accusation against them before the Lord. All right? So, when you look at the reading, and you look at the different sections, it's going in and showing about, like, Abraham, obedience, Lot, obedience, right? The story in Kings with Gehazi and the Shunammite, disobedience and obedience, right? Even when the angel came to Mary and told and gave her instruction, he was showing, Mary had to show her obedience. Even when you read about the apostles, Yahushua told them to do what? To stay here in Jerusalem, right? Until you get the power. And then they were obedient to what he said. They didn't just run off because they let their eyes deceive them. It's all about obedience. That's what this reading was going into, about obedience. I know we hit a bunch of different other subtopics and topics, but that's what that went into. Any questions on the reading?
No, sir.
Any questions off the reading? Anybody online got questions off the reading or on the reading? Now is the time. We've been hitting a lot of questions lately. Friday we hit a lot of questions. A lot of good ones. Basics for brothers that been here, but it's new to some brothers that never read it. So we got to take the time. I don't mind taking the time to go over basics and fundamentals. It's very important. Keeps you fresh. Anything?
Tattoos. Getting new ones. Or not getting new ones.
Go to Leviticus. Somebody go to Acts. Acts 17. Tattoos are a no-no. Right? Tattoos are a no-no, not because I said so, not because I want them to be, but let's see what the scriptures say. There's a few, right? Now, go to
Leviticus 19:28.
Yeah, go to Leviticus 19:28. Leviticus 19:28. I mean, it's straight to the point.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 28.
Read.
Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead.
Right, because when you go into it, that's what the Canaanites were doing. They were cutting flesh. They were cutting their flesh, man. And they were sacrificing their they would cut their beard off and round the corners and sacrifice that to the dead. To these dead gods. They had these customs that the Most High was trying to prevent us from following. Remember, the law was given to us to clean us up from Egypt and to prevent us from doing the things that the Canaanites and other nations were already doing. The Egyptian, y'all get that, right?
Just like the fraternities, they be branding themselves.
Just like the fraternities, you branded yourself to these dead Greek gods. I'm an Alpha Psi Kappa. No, you a Kappa for real. No cap. Right? You a brand of, what is it, a horseshoe? Is it a horseshoe or that's what it is? Right, those are the Qs, right? Are they the only ones that do it? I don't know.
The horseshoe, yeah.
Are they the only fraternity that do the branding?
Oh, no, they do the Kappa, do the K with the diamond around it.
Oh, okay. And then, the slave master, he branded us. Yep. You brand cattle, man. Yep. You mark your cattle. Yep. So why would you brand yourself and make markings in your flesh, cuttings in your flesh? Read on.
Nor print any marks.
Nor what?
Print any marks upon you.
Yeah, no matter how you define the word print, inject any marks, print any marks, write any marks upon you. Go ahead.
I am the Most High.
Right. Now, plenty of us, well, I don't have any, but there's a lot of brothers that already have tattoos. So what do we say about that? Well, some would think, well, let me go get a tattoo removal. Right? But that puts another mark on top of your flesh, so you don't want to add sin unto sin. You already did it, you might as well just leave it. Bear that sin, right? What did the Most High say? Go to Acts 17 and 30.
Acts 17 and 30.
Uh-huh.
And the times of this ignorance, God winked at.
Right? So when you were ignorant about tattoos and not getting them or getting them, the Most High winked at you. He said, you know what? I'm going to give you a pass on that. Because you didn't know. You were ignorant. But now that you do know what the law says, go ahead.
But now commanded,
right?
All men everywhere to repent.
To what?
To repent.
Now you got to change from that mind state. Acts 17 and 30 is where we're at. You have another question?
Also,
wait, before you ask a question.
Go ahead.
Did you understand what that said? You understand those two scriptures?
Come on, please.
Okay. Now you got another question?
There's this one tattoo that I got.
Right.
But I'm not too sure where it's at in scripture. It's in Isaiah.
Right.
It says, and they will write the name of the Lord on their hand.
Right.
Which one is that? And if you could elaborate on that one.
That's interesting.
Let's get it. It's not saying to get tattoos though, else it would be contradiction, right?
Definitely.
Right.
Precepts.
Right. He's not saying to break the law, but then keep the law, but then break the law. Right? Let's find that one. It's what?
I think that's what it is.
What is it?
24:5.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't say that he's gonna. You gotta read it. It doesn't say that he'll write anything on his hand. He said he will subscribe with the hand.
Isaiah.
Right, so read that.
Isaiah chapter 44, verse 5.
Right.
One shall say, I am the Most High, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob.
Right.
And another shall subscribe
He
with
shall
his
do what?
subscribe.
Right. When you subscribe, you write. Go ahead.
With his hand unto the Most High.
Right. It doesn't say anything about writing anything on your hand, but it's saying you write with your hand.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And surname himself by the name of Israel.
Right. So, yeah, that's not saying anything about putting a tattoo on your hand, because remember, the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace. So if he says don't make no markings on your flesh, even when, I'll give you this one, where it says you'll have the mark in your forehead. Was that literally like Ash Wednesday? No, the mark in the forehead was the spiritual mark, the spiritual sealing, or being sealed. So in Ezekiel 9, where he said, mark them that sigh and that cry for the abominations, did they have to have an actual asterisk on their forehead? No. The mark was the mark of righteousness against the wickedness. So you get that? Con?
And also in this, like when you read it, verse 3 says, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground, right? I will pour my spirit upon thy seed and my blessing upon thine offspring.
Where you at?
This is the same Isaiah 44. It's just a little up. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses. This is like back in Ezekiel, right? When it talks about prophesy unto the valley of dry bones, and they'll stand up and they'll live. So it's speaking like on the same thing. So verse 5, when it says, one shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. Well, why? Like, because our people is waking back up.
Right, and coming back to who they are.
Yeah.
That surname, instead of being surnamed by your slave, now I'm surname of the Most High.
That's why I was saying in verse 3, I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground.
Right.
I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring.
Right.
So it's like the Most High.
He's rejuvenating.
Yeah.
He's rejuvenating us. So all I'm saying is that he will subscribe with his hand unto the Lord and surname himself by the name of Israel.
Go back to being righteous.
Also, I bring it up because when I was 23, 26, as a babe, and in foolishness, I tatted my hand, my left hand at that. Right. And then, try to cover it up too. That's why I bring it up.
Right.
But also, there was this one interview that I seen on Lecrae where they're talking about tattoos, and he brought up that scripture 44:5, and also a scripture in Revelations where the name of the Most High will be on the thigh or something like that.
Well, for one, they probably brought this up in a bad translation.
Definitely, it was a bad translation.
Right. But even if it said it's on the thigh, it doesn't mean that it was tattooed on there.
Right.
I could put the name of the Most High on my thigh, on my garment. Right? Remember, we wear clothes, we're not exposing our thighs. But you see my point?
No, kind.
Where that's a bad mistranslation of scripture, and if you go to the law tells us what it is. So there can't be a contradiction. There's not going to be a contradiction of the law. There's not going to be that confusion. The world wants you to get tattoos. They want you to, tattoo your body. It's the new craze. Get your whole. It's no longer a sleeve. It's a body tattoo now, right?
Yeah.
Just a bunch of foolishness. Look at Lil Wayne. Look at Wiz Khalifa, 21 Savage, the one that just died, Triple X.
Oh man, the best one is Tekashi.
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
6ix9ine everywhere.
Right, everywhere.
You got no, he's not the best one. The best one is Birdman.
Oh, he got that damn star in the top of his nut.
Yeah, he got lots of stars. That's the big star. He's a Dragon Ball.
He got that. He said he's a Dragon Ball.
Wow,
he's a Super Saiyan.
Nah, he's Dragon Ball.
I don't know about Dragon Ball.
Stars over.
Is we done or is we finished? Y'all didn't get it. Hey, ain't that what he said? That's the last thing I remember Birdman for saying. Is we done or is we finished? Right. Anything else?
Yeah, he died.
There was one online. IU student.
Right. Some will use X. Some will use Acts 17 and 30 as a reason not to study, thinking that if I don't know any better, that how can God punish me for not knowing? How can we properly approach it? Go to Luke. Go to Luke. Go to Luke. Let's see here. Let me see if I can remember it. You still listen, whether you know or not, you still gonna catch it. Yeah. Listen, because you did something out of ignorance didn't mean that there wasn't a punishment. Because you did something out of ignorance does not mean that there was not a punishment, or because you didn't know there wasn't a punishment. There was definitely a punishment. Now, let's go to Luke what? 4? Oh, Luke 12, right? 12. How did my brain? Let's see here. Here it is. Luke 4 and 47. Luke 4 verse 47 and verse 48. So Acts 17, Luke chapter 12 and verse 47. I'm sorry. There is no, I'm not going to study so I don't know. You can't get around that. You better study so you do know. There is not, I'm not going to read so I'm not held accountable. You're going to be still held accountable, regardless if you know or not. It's like if you're driving a car, right? I know here in Texas you can turn on right, on red. In New York you can't turn on red. You think they care? When you got them out-of-state plates and you turn on a red light, they're giving you a ticket, man. They're like, yo, you should have known. You should have known.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Huh? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Right? Read.
Luke chapter 12, verse 47.
Right?
And that servant which knew his Lord's will,
right,
and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
Right. So the servant which knew his Lord's will but didn't prepare, he gonna get many stripes. Go ahead.
But he knew, but he that knew not.
But he that didn't take the time to read and study, I just didn't know. Go ahead.
And did commit things worthy of stripes.
And did commit things worthy of stripes, broke the law, ate pork, ate shrimp, crab, lobster, got tattoos. Go ahead.
Shall be beaten with few stripes.
Yeah, you're still gonna catch it, just not as many. But if people are really sitting back like, I'm not gonna study, so I don't know. Come on, man.
That's ignorance yourself. You know
that right there. The Most High is not looking at that like you're ignorant. He's looking at that. That's rebellion. That's rebellion and pride. So you gonna definitely catch the beats.
Isn't that considered witchcraft also when you rebel?
Well, it says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Yeah. Why? Because you start you start manipulating things in your head to make it seem as though it's not. Ain't that what witchcraft does? You start manipulating things in your head, man. Go to read that one more time, verse 48.
Verse 48. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes,
right,
shall be beaten with few stripes.
Right.
For unto whomsoever much is given,
right,
of him shall be much required.
Go ahead.
And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more.
Right. Now go to because basically they're just saying I'm gonna ride on grace. Go to Romans 6 and verse 1. I'm gonna ride this grace train. Ignorance is bliss. No, it ain't. Ignorance hurts.
Romans chapter 6, verse 1.
Right?
What shall we say?
Because if anybody has the audacity to say that, if they're that cunning in the mind to say, well, Acts 17 and 30, I'm gonna just be ignorant and use that scripture, you're not ignorant. You're really not that ignorant. Go ahead.
What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin?
Right.
That grace may abound?
Go ahead.
The Most High forbid.
Right. God forbid. No, you're supposed to put away sin, and you're supposed to want to read about what sin is and what sin is not, and how to get right with the Most High. I mean, you would think that everyone would want to do it, but think about it. Let's make it real simple. Are the people out in the world getting punished? Are Israelites in the world outside of the truth getting punished? Yeah, their ignorance got them. Go to Hosea 4 and 6. Which one? Oh yeah. Yep. Well, Hosea 4 and 6 says what? My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. You ain't even gotta go there. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Why? Because they're ignorant. So, yes, there is punishment for being ignorant. So, no matter what, you can't escape. All bases are covered. Where are we going to go?
You can go to Proverbs chapter 1 and you can start at verse 22.
Read it.
It says, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge.
Go ahead.
Turn you at my
Right, how
reproof.
long are you going to be simple-minded and want to wallow in your sin?
Yep.
How long are you going to think that ignorance is bliss? Like eating pork is bliss? It's bliss. There's bliss from that. There's joy.
Right.
No. It might taste good, I think. I don't know. All the health defects that come on, man. There's no joy in that. Right. Go ahead.
And fools hate knowledge.
Right.
Verse 23. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you.
Read.
Because I have called, and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded.
Right.
But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I will also laugh at your calamities.
I will do what?
I will laugh at your calamities.
So there is calamities for the simple. Mm-hmm. For the ones that think like, oh, I'm just be ignorant. Willfully ignorant. There's calamities that come. Yep. Read.
I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as a desolation, and your desolation cometh as a whirlwind.
So there's desolation and destruction. You were catching it in the world. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me.
Right.
But I will not answer.
Nope.
They shall seek me early,
nope.
But they shall not find me.
Nope.
For that they hated knowledge.
Yeah, see, you hated to study.
Ooh.
You hated to find out what were the wrongs and the rights, the do's and the don'ts.
Ooh.
Come on.
And did not choose the fear of the Lord.
Yeah, you chose pride. You chose ignorance over respecting the Most High and His ways. Go ahead.
They despise all my reproof. It's like in verse 30. They would none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof.
Right.
Therefore shall they eat.
And how does the punishment come? Read.
Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way.
Right. The man that wanders out of the way of understanding wandereth into the congregation of the dead. Go ahead.
And be filled with their own devices.
Read.
For the turning away of the simple shall slay them. And the prosperity of fools shall destroy them.
Right.
But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil.
Yes, sir. That's what it says. So there is no backdoor little Joe around that.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? How would I?
Could you help me with Genesis 32:32?
Read that. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh, and the sinew shrank. Go ahead, read that.
Genesis 30. Oh, he's gonna read it?
No, you read.
Genesis 32 and 32. Therefore, the children of Israel eat not of the sinew of shrank.
Right, the sinew
which shrank. I'm sorry.
So let's look up what a sinew is. A sinew is a tendon that holds the muscles together, right? Like when you read in Ezekiel, it tells you the sinews were put up on the bones. Right. So, what we got? Yeah. You see this little nasty piece of the chicken? Yeah. You know when you cut, it looks like fat, but it's like a part of chicken that I hate.
It's like the tendon. It looks just like a thick.
It is the tendon. Yeah, it is the tendon. So that's what we don't eat.
So is that's on in
Well, that's the only tendon in that. What is that? A breast? That's a breast.
Chicken breast, yeah.
Right. Now the thighs, does it have sinews in there? Chicken thighs. He's gonna look.
Because it says, which is upon the hollow of the thigh.
Right.
Might probably not look at chicken. I might have to look at like lamb.
Therefore, the children of the city with strength. Right, and it might not be just talking about that chicken. Let's see.
Gotta be one. That's the
Con.
Talking about the that's testimony to the truth of the story. So it's saying that the Israelite prohibition against eating the thigh muscle of an animal.
It's on chicken and beef.
Yeah, because that sinew, that tendon is what holds that thigh onto the bone. Your hip bone connected to your thigh bone. Right? So, I'll look more into it, Abadiah, and I'll get it for you.
I was just wondering, does that mean that, is it just that we're not supposed to eat? Which, I mean, I get it now that that's not the part that we're supposed to eat, but is it the whole thigh?
It says we ate none of the sinew which shrank. Remember, if you look up a sinew, it's a tendon. Right. So it's saying the sinew, it didn't say the thigh.
Okay.
Right.
That's funny about it. The same sinew, like whatever you're cooking, especially chicken breast, it does shrink.
Yeah, the heat shrinks that thing up. Anything else?
So like when we was reading through Genesis 19 and 8 about Lot's daughters, do you use that as precepts for the virgin birth also?
Virgin birth?
Oh, as far as the sisters being
virgins and also married.
Well, I mean, I don't use that only because it doesn't. Remember, they weren't virgins after they slept with their dads. Well, and it says the thing with that is why that won't go through for people is because it said they lay with their father. It doesn't specifically say in those same terms, Mary lay with Joseph. That's what throws people off. Right. They don't understand what a husband and a wife is. You see what I'm saying? They're like, well, that's the whole thing about Immaculate Conception. She was pregnant without laying with a man. So I wouldn't use Lot and his daughters because it said they lay with their father. They were virgins up until when? Up until they got into that cave.
No, but going down to 14 said they had husbands.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, you can. Yeah, you can. They were just betrothed. They were betrothed to those men. They just didn't lay with them yet. So yeah, you can. Because that's when you go through the betrothal, it tells you what? It tells you that you're promised to be married. Right? Watch. Betrothal or espousal. I had a better, contracted for future marriage. That's betrothed. But I had a better, espousal. I had a better definition. Espousal, used in or related to the act of espousing or betrothing. The act of espousing, betrothing. No. I had a better definition of espousal. I gotta find the other class, but it tells you basically you were married. They will call you married if you were betrothed or espoused, but then remember it was still the act, the consummation of marriage. So yeah, you can use that. You can use it because you were considered a woman's wife once you were betrothed. That was your wife. Remember, it said you shall betroth a wife, and another man will lie with her. You'll espouse a wife, and another man will lie with her. You might espouse her and never get to lie with her. Who has betrothed a wife and not lay with her? Right? Deuteronomy. Let him go and deal with his wife. Remember, don't take a coward to war. Don't take a man that hasn't betrothed his wife. Right. So she was technically your wife in the betrothal stages. And you consummated or sealed the marriage with laying with her. So you can use that. I just like to use the actual chapter itself. Just break it down. You ain't gotta break down the virgin birth with nowhere else but Genesis, Luke. Yeah. Anything else? Live? Anything online? All right, if that's it, we're gonna close it out with the prayers. The closing out prayer with the closing prayers. So everybody, I might give upon y'all with Yerah Shalom. It was a long one. It was a lengthy one. 7 hours, man. 7 hours of class, man. I get a lot. Don't get this work. Come. Right? Don't get this work. Hey, turn that camera for me. Not you, Noah. Don't touch.
Yes, no wrong one. I got the problem.
Oh. No, Noah, lift the cord up a little bit.
I should have turned the other way.
No, you got it. You got it, Ron. Keep turning it. Keep turning it. No, just keep turning it.
Don't raise it up.
No. Yeah, no, that'll work. It's all good. Yep.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Kushai.
Baruch Kushai.
Shemai. To us. Right now. Samaya Ka'ala. And the righteous angels. To watch. To watch over. To Barak. To Rapah. To protect. And to make strong. The people of Yasharallah. And also Yahweh. We pray for much wisdom. Much knowledge. Much understanding. Much patience. Much faith. Much brotherhood. Much love. Much spiritual power. And forgive us. All of our sins. Yahweh Shai, please come quickly. For in thee is our hope. Always. And forever. Amen. Hashem Yahushai.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the law.
Barakatah Yahweh. Hashem Yahushai. Award.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the light to see.
Barakatah Yahweh. Hashem Yahushai. Ha'ayo. Kora'ab.
are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the ram's horn to call the people.
Rakta Yahweh.
Rakta Yahweh.
Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Hahawa'ah. Dalanawa. Shaman. Zayah. Lamashat.
Yasharallah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the olive oil to anoint Israel.
And if anybody wants to get anointed, we can do it after class. This is Psalm chapter 92. It is a good thing.
It is a good thing
to give thanks unto Yahweh.
To give thanks unto Yahweh.
To sing praise unto thy name.
To sing praises to thy name.
O Most High.
O Most High.
To show forth thy loving kindness.
To show forth thy loving kindness.
In the morning.
In the morning.
And thy faithfulness.
And thy faithfulness.
Every night.
Every night.
Upon an instrument.
Upon an instrument.
Of 10 strings.
Of 10 strings.
And upon the psaltery.
And upon the psaltery.
And upon the harp.
And upon the harp.
With the solemn sound.
With the solemn sound.
For thou.
For thou.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Hast made me glad through thy work.
Has made me glad to do thy works.
I will triumph in the works of thy hands.
I will triumph in the works of thy hands.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
How great are thy works.
How great are thy works.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
And thy thoughts are very deep.
A brutish man knoweth not.
A brutish man knoweth not.
Neither doth the fool understand this.
Neither doth the fool understand this.
When the wicked spring as the grass.
When the wicked spring as the grass.
And when all the workers of iniquity.
And when all the workers of iniquity.
Do flourish.
Do flourish.
It is that day.
It is that day.
Shall be destroyed forever.
Shall be destroyed forever.
But thou, Yahweh.
But thou, Yahweh.
Are most high forevermore.
Are most high forevermore.
Below thine enemies.
Below thine enemies.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Below thine enemies.
Below thine enemies.
Shall perish.
Shall perish.
All the workers of iniquity.
All the workers of iniquity.
Shall be scattered.
Shall be scattered.
My horn. Shalt thou exalt.
Shalt thou exalt.
Like the horn of a unicorn.
Like the horn of a unicorn.
I shall be anointed with fresh oil.
I shall be anointed with fresh oil.
Mine eye also. Shall see my desire.
Shall see my desire.
On mine enemies.
On mine enemies.
And my ears shall hear.
And my ears shall hear.
My desire of the wicked.
My desire of the wicked.
That rise up against me.
That rise up against me.
The righteous shall flourish.
The righteous shall flourish.
Like the palm tree.
Like the palm tree.
He shall grow like the cedar in Lebanon.
He shall grow like the cedar in Lebanon.
Those that be planted in the house of Yahweh Shai.
Those that be planted in the house of Yahweh Shai.
Shall flourish in the courts of Yahweh.
Shall flourish in the courts of Yahweh.
They shall still bring forth fruit.
They shall still bring forth fruit.
In old age.
In old age.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
To show that Yahweh is upright.
To show that Yahweh is upright.
He is my rock.
He is my rock.
And there is no unrighteousness.
And there
is no unrighteousness
in him.
In him.
By Hashem Yahweh Shai.
By Hashem Yahweh Shai.
This is Psalm chapter 133. Shayar.
Shayar.
Hamalawat.
Hamalawat.
Hadawad.
Hadawad.
Hana.
Hana.
Ma.
Ma.
Tawab.
Tawab.
Wama.
Wama.
Na'ayam.
Na'ayam.
Shabbat.
Shabbat.
Akim.
Akim.
Gum.
Gum.
Yechad.
Yechad.
Kashaman.
Kashaman.
Hatawab.
Hatawab.
Ha'al.
Ha'al.
It's like an owl.
Owl.
Hara'ash.
Hara'ash.
Yarad.
Yarad.
Owl's owl.
Owl.
Hazakon.
Hazakon.
Zakon.
Zakon.
Aharon.
Aharon.
Shayarad.
Shayarad.
Alpaya.
Alpaya.
Adawat Yawad.
Adawat Yawad.
Katol.
Katol.
Karam.
Karam.
One.
One.
Shayarad.
Shayarad.
Owl.
Owl.
Harayab.
Harayab.
Zayawun.
Zayawun.
Kayab.
Kayab.
Shum.
Shum.
Tazawah.
Tazawah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Habaraka.
Habaraka.
Kayayam.
Kayayam.
I. I will love. Amen.
Amen. Psalms chapter 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Most High commanded the blessing, even life, forevermore.
Bahashem Yahweh Shai.
Bahashem Yahweh Shai.
The water. From Yad. Aman.
Aman.
Circle up. And real quick on that Genesis 32:32, remember, there's no law that says that. There's no law that says thou shalt not, right, eat the hind legs, because that tendon was in the hind legs of the animals. So There's no law. It's not a law, right? It was just tradition because of what happened with Jacob. All right, you get that, right? Right. So in the tradition, we would remove that tendon out of the hind legs. If not, we wouldn't even use the hind legs if there was nobody to remove that tendon. So that was just tradition. It's not law. All right. Make sure that's clear. Call it.
Men of Israel, I imagine. Right.
Turn to face the sisters. Sisters, rise. Call it.
Salute not the daughters of Zion, men of Israel, I imagine. Right.
Give him a time. Dismiss.
What are you making fun of me about?
No, I wasn't. I was actually like, sorry. So you got
brother. That's when I got this Gatorade.
She's at her grandparents. She goes over there on the weekends. Every weekend.
Yeah, man.
It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The European Union about to hit the button. And I feel sorry for you if you think the Lord is bluffing. That's why I hit the booth and I tell the truth. Are you fishing with the truth? Homie, where's your fruit? If the Most High is your rock, don't treat him like a side piece. Come in this truth plan and treat you like a side piece. He's the God of mercy and wrath. So do you want to fly or do you keep the Bible on cop? The Most High is my rock. TK. Rock. The Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. My rock. The Most High is my rock. In the name of Messiah, the Most High is my rock. The Most High is my rock. My rock. The Most High is my rock. Yeah. The Most High is my rock. I keep my Bible on cop. The Most High is my rock. No time for cupcake and the cutling. Hit the streets and start cutting. The Israelites are bubbling. The Israelites are coming. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. You can keep the stuffing. It's pagan, disdain, it's vain, it's nothing. The year